Well, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Hope everyone's doing great, staying cool. It's very hot. I think over 100 here, 102 or something. Hello in San Diego. Got Oklahoma City here. Got England here. Everyone's already doing a little bit of chatting going on. Tonight, I'm doing something. First time, I'm streaming on YouTube Shorts at the same time. So this should be a simultaneous feed to Shorts and the long. We'll see if it actually is working or not. This is just an experiment, so if Shorts people can see me, hello. I don't know if I'm getting your chats, so I don't think I'm going to be able to read your chats. But so if you want to participate in our chat, just come on over to the long video and we can talk. Hello in New Zealand, Australia, let's see, Massachusetts. Looks like I'm looking at the voting going on already. So we have 3 different laptops in our vote queue. So we have an X14, Alienware X14. So it's going to be a newer style 14-inch gaming laptop. Very low percentage on that one, won't turn on, 19%. We got an Alienware 17R3, no signs of life. So the 17R3 is actually an older laptop, probably circa 2017 or something like that. And then the last one is going to be an XPS 9345. It doesn't, like, I think one side charger it communicates and the other side doesn't, or something like that. I haven't looked at it, but that machine actually has the Snapdragon processor in it, or ARM CPU. And I've actually never worked on one of these, so I'll be kind of interested to open up that 9345 because I've never seen what's inside of there. But we may not have the parts for it because it's a newer machine, so I may not have the PD controllers if we need that. But that might be something interesting to look at. So, so you're in Australia and it's 60 degrees. Is that 60 degrees Fahrenheit? I would hope so, or else you're boiling your skin off. We got Romania here. We got Brazil. Another England. You think the X14 is yours? Is it? Let's see. Let's see if it's yours. Well, it doesn't match your handle, so I don't think that's yours. I'm still waiting for Soren to drop in. I think Soren's asleep, right? Isn't it like in the middle of the night? It's like midnight right now. That would be nice if Soren did stop by. I usually watch his streams, but I always miss his streams on Sunday morning because I'm asleep. So. Florida, Greece, Netherlands, Marsfield, Germany, New York. Got a lot of people here. North Carolina. So we're starting to get 167 people on our stream right now. And if you're new to the stream, so what we do every week, 6 o'clock Central Time, I do board repairs or repairs of laptops live. And I put up 3 laptops that I haven't looked at all and that you get the vote on, and then we work on it together. And that's kind of the gist of it. And if one's fast, then we work on another one. And so cast your votes. 167 people in the room right now, and we have 119 votes. So a little bit low, a little bit behind. If some people are watching on TV, I know there's not much you can do about that. So we got Switzerland. Oh, I love Switzerland. Where's Paul Daniels? Paul Daniels has been in here a few times. Hello in Oregon, Germany. And let's see, Jamaica. Nice. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. I usually do about 10 after the hour, but we are pretty substantially locked in on 67% of the people want to see this Alienware 17R3, no signs of life. The closest second is not even close at 18%, which is the X14. And then the XPS 9345, which has that Snapdragon processor, is only 15%. So I don't really see it catching up unless everyone, starts voting really fast. But cast your votes. If you're watching on the YouTube short stream, I'm sorry, I'm not putting polls up there. I haven't really figured out how to interact with the chat on the YouTube Shorts, but you're at least able to see the feed. If you want to jump over to our channel and click on the long form, then you can participate with us on that. So, but this is all just an experiment to simulcast on 2 different things. So. So I think we're going to end it here, close the poll out, because I don't see anyone beating the 17R3. So poll's closed. And 67% of the people said they want to see the 17R3 with no signs of life. So I think that's actually pretty definitive. Let's see. You guys shoot your questions in here if you want me to kind of answer some questions. If we get through this X17, the 17R3, then we can move on to one of the other ones. The second place was the X14, and the third place was the Snapdragon. I'm kind of interested in looking at that Snapdragon, so we may look at that anyway at some point. You know how I am. We don't know where the stream's going to go. We just kind of go. So let me grab that one. Okay, so we have this 17R3. It is obviously 17-inch, and it is huge, right? It takes up my entire desk. And the customer's notes, let's get this on the screen for you. Here's our customer's notes. It's a book. But basically what I've seen here is it just says there was no known issues and it stopped turning on. It has no life since. So that's kind of what I got out of it. I didn't go through and really pay attention to too much of it because I like to go into this cold, like I said. So the more information the customer tells me sometimes kind of throws me off. I just rather hey, it doesn't work, or let's figure it out ourselves, right? So I'm going to try to do better on chats. You know how it is. If I'm multitasking, I'm doing something, it's hard to read chats. I know some people ask the same questions, If you do end up putting like a super chat in there, then it lights up and it's easy for me to see. I don't have anybody else helping me monitor this chats or tell me, hey, I'm a one-man person here. So let me update what laptop we're working on. I had the wrong model in there, so. So we want the 17R3 one. No signs of life. So we will save that in there. So now we actually have the right monarchy at the bottom. So, but anyway, like I said, I'll do my best to pay attention to the chat. And if you're on the YouTube Shorts, I can't pay attention to the chat over there, so I can't read it. So just come on over to the long form, and I'll do better with that. So, so let's plug this in. That's the first thing we need to do, right? So we have our power meter here. You can see it off to the side, right there. And if I plug this in, where's the jack on this one? It's on the edge. So what we need to do is we need to figure out if it pulls any current at all. Actually, before I plug this in, we'll just see if it turns on with the power button. And it's doing nothing. Yes, I'm using OBS to stream, and so I just installed this plugin that I saw called Aiden Live, and then you can do Aiden Vertical, and you can do simulcast streaming. Because I may end up working my way up to streaming on Twitch and some of those other things, but right now we're just kind of focusing on YouTube and then YouTube Shorts, see if I can get that going, and then we'll try doing other carriers. But yes, I'm using OBS. All right, so now we're going to plug this in. Pay attention to the power meter. Well, there's no signs of life right there. So did you guys notice what it did to my power meter right here? It completely shorted it out. Oh, I can smell it. Wow, okay. Yeah. It's funny as I come home from work at night and my kids come up to me and they smell me like, you smell like campfire. Yeah, it's because I'm in burning computer land all the time. So, yeah, ooh, this thing is bad. The amount of smell probably means that this is toast. It's actually out of the jack here. And I just noticed that the YouTube Shorts feed, I have a reversed view. I need to reverse this real quick. Let me see if I can fix that. It's in backwards land. There we go. Okay, so I fixed that. All right, so the first thing we need to do is open it up. It definitely has a short of some sort. If it's shorted out the AC adapter, so kind of what we're trying to figure out. So I plug in the charger, and the charger will shut itself off if it detects a short or if it's something short at the ground. So these machines should have they have a protection circuit where they have MOSFETs that will turn off and not allow current to flow if they detect something bad. But if it does let out the magic smoke like that, it usually means that one of the MOSFETs are shorted on, so it's just allowing the current to pass through to whatever short component is in there. and we'll have to figure out what it is, because it could just be a CPU, GPU, which is not repairable, or it could be a capacitor, which is an easy pizza, as people would say. A capacitor, they're mostly used for bypassing high frequency and kind of cleaning power lines, and they're always connected to a positive and negative, and so if one of those goes short, they just become basically a wire and shorting the positive to ground. So that's what ends up happening. So the battery is unplugged, and so the DC jack is what was shorted. So I'm just going to unplug the DC jack real quick. Let's zoom, and look here. Hopefully everyone can see that. So the way this system is set up is we have this is the DC jack plug. It plugs into there, and then the battery plugs in right next to it. We have this big coil here, which is probably the charge coil. Here, we'll do it on the microscope instead. This camera doesn't always do justice. So under the microscope, we can quickly measure some of this stuff around here to kind of figure out if we do detect something shorted. But usually if you're shorting the AC adapter right when you plug it in, it means that the main power rail, which is the power rail that powers all the other power rails in the machine, is probably shorted out. And so we can put our meter in continuity mode, where if you touch the probes together, they beep. And you can see up there on the screen what it's measuring there. I think, yeah, that's up there working. And so if I'm going to put one side on ground. That's probably a fine ground. And let's just test this coil real quick. And this is probably a charge coil, so it's not going to have any issue, but this one is probably on the main power rail. And pay attention to what we're getting on there as the measurement. So it's 0.3, okay? So that's 0.3 of an ohm. That will tell us most likely what is shorted. And does anyone want to guess? Does anyone want to know why I can read that and kind of tell what is shorted? Because there's a lot of people who have figured this out. So CPU, nope, it's not CPU. CPU has higher resistance than that. So CPU will be over 1 ohm usually. 1 ohm, 1.5 ohm, 2 ohms, 3 ohms. It depends on what type of system it is, obviously. But what has really, really low resistance, but not zero? PCH? No. Well, I guess a PCH can be shorted, but usually when that's shorted, it is shorted close to zero. It's going to be a GPU. Most likely GPU. And so what's going to happen here, so you have the GPU itself, its internal resistance to ground is usually around 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 of an ohm, okay? And if you have a bunch of power stages powering the GPU, one of those MOSFETs becomes shorted so that it's just kind of short straight through it, like it almost becomes a wire. So the main power rail, 19 volts, goes through that MOSFET and straight into the GPU and back down the ground. And so that's why when we're measuring the main power rail, if it's shorted like a wire through that MOSFET, then it's attaching to the GPU, then we're reading what the resistance of the GPU is. So most likely, I would say GPU. If I was just going to say, I'm going to guess right now. Now, it's not to say that it couldn't be a capacitor, because a capacitor is usually shorted to zero. It's just shorted like a wire, but I've seen capacitors short to like 12 ohms, things like that, you know. But we don't know. So we're going to figure this out right now. But luckily, this machine is a pain in the ass to take apart. So you guys, I'm going to start unscrewing, and you just start asking questions. And I will do my best to pay attention to the chat at the same time, because I hate unscrewing screws, or I hate watching unscrewing screws. And I want to, everyone who's watching right now, I'm going to kind of do this periodically too. So we got YouTube Shorts running. If you're on YouTube Shorts, I'm not reading that chat, so you're kind of doing your own conversation there. If you want to come interact with us in our chat, come over to the long form video on YouTube. And but the machine I'm working on is a 17R3. I have it written there with no signs of life. Well, we should update that to shorts out the AC adapter, but you know. Details. Let's see, cliff notes on the motherboard repair. So I'm going to try to do my best to try to teach you guys how to do motherboard repair in general, but it's all a detective work. It's like you're writing down or you're taking notes on every single thing you see. Are we going to do a poll and see how many screws we have in this machine? We'll do that too at this, because there's going to be a lot of screws. So you can, later on we'll do a guess, and then I'll figure out what we can do with that, just to give it more entertainment. I'm not sure if people are aware of the durability of laptops. They just see the price and specs and buy it. Yeah, this laptop, these are really, really, really good laptops. They're old, but they are goodies. The reason why this laptop is still around and working, and it just now died, obviously, but did we figure out what year it was? Let me see if I can find the year. Someone can look up the service tag, I guess, and then it will tell you on when it was shipped, the ship date. Do you see how many amps it takes? 12 amps, or it takes 9.2 amps in order to run this thing. I don't see a date code on here. That says 2015 in this whatever code, so it could be a 2015. I think it's a 2016 personally. When we get the board out, it will actually tell us what year it is. Yeah, 2015. So like I said, 10 years old. These things are built like a tank. These are super thick. You could throw this on the ground now. All the newer ones are a lot more fragile. And then it's like, these are thick enough to have ample cooling. So that, you know, that's also good because it has big heat sinks. Daryl, you love the show. Well, thank you. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm not very good at public speaking, so this is all an experiment. David, thank you for the donation. Any donations to the stream will go straight to the customers that we are fixing. So this customer, anything you donate, I'll take it off his repair ticket. So I don't keep any of that money, by the way. But YouTube keeps some of the money. So YouTube, I think, keeps like 30%, and then whatever's left over is what I give to the customer. Build was, it was built in the year of the dragon. Ha 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 ha. Yeah? 2015 was the dragon year, huh? You got a 10-year-old XPS running Windows 7. Nice. Don't go on the internet. You have an Inspiron, a 2013 Inspiron 35. It's a 3000 series, so it's a 3537. So that means that it has it's made of plastic if it's a 3000 series like that. InterServer, thank you for the donation. Which laptop models are most in the list for repair? Alienwares, Inspirons, Latitudes, XPS, Precisions. Most issues, advice. So I can tell you the least is going to be Latitudes. Latitudes are going to be the ones that are built like, you know, made the last. Dell actually puts good warranties on them, just straight from the factory, even like 3 to 5 year warranties you can get off of them. Inspirons are going to be the ones that are physically in for repair most of the time. I don't fix them. I only fix boards, but I have other techs here that are working on, that do all the other repairs, and they, you know, it's going to be a physical thing. That's wrong with Inspirons for the most part. It's a lot cheaper made because they're made of plastic for the most part. XPSs will have, XPS and Alienware are going to be the ones that I fix the most in board repair because those are the ones that are worth the most. So you have to kind of, you know, gauge it that way. So reliability, Latitudes are really the way to go. Precisions, if you get a Precision, there's certain Precisions that are high, I don't know, they push them too hard. So you can get a Latitude that is a Precision, or a Precision that is a Latitude rather, but you can also get a Precision that is an XPS, and you can get a Precision that is a Precision. So I would kind of just stick with, if you wanted something, Latitudes aren't very sleek, but they work really well. And then XPSs are great, but you know, keep them clean. They overheat a lot because they're really thin. Let's go back. I got to read some of your chats more. Started watching your videos, do repair, but it's not as good as you explaining things that help. Explaining people with less experience. Yeah. So I try to do the best I can. Like I said, I try to speak out loud in my brain because I've watched some other people's streams and they don't talk. I'm like, okay, you got to talk. You have to say something, and I have to fill the space. And like I said, I'm not a public speaker, but I'm doing the best I can with all this stuff. All right, so we got most of the screws out the bottom. We can look how many we already have here. And so the way this one comes together, it's like a little shell that stacks on top of each other. So we're going to pull the palm rest off. Yeah, the inward design looks like Fort Knox. Great videos. What's the better for battery maintenance of a laptop? Always plugged in or discharged? So I like to treat a battery like treat it like a cell phone, or a laptop like a cell phone. So you know how you plug in your cell phone overnight and then you unplug it and use it during the day? So I always keep my laptop kind of plugged in next to my chair or my desk or whatever it is, and then I unplug it when I use it. That's general rule of thumb. You get better life out of it if you cycle it. Now, there are a lot of the newer laptops have power settings in the BIOS that you can set it to be always plugged in. So if you set it to always plugged in, then the laptop will discharge the battery or not charge it all the way up. Kind of like your electric car. If you own an electric car, you always want to charge it to like 80% or 90% at most. And then when you go out of town, you charge it to 100. So that's general rule of thumb on that. Mark, thanks for the subscription. Yeah, Latitudes are the best value. You can buy a used Latitude. We sell some refurbished laptops, Latitudes and stuff that we refurbish ourselves, and we put a year warranty on. But you can also buy them on eBay for really cheap. You know, a lot of companies will lease them out for a few years and then send them off, and then you just kind of go through and just, fix them back up. Your main machine is a Precision 7730, so that's a real precision. So if it starts with a 77 like that, then it's a real precision. Those things run really hot. Now, they're super high end. They have you can put a lot of RAM in it, and you can put a lot of hard drives disk space in there, or SSDs. But they definitely have heat issues. I don't necessarily like the design of the 7730 series of the Precisions because of the way that it's like one heat pipe and it goes across the GPU then to the CPU. So it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's that well thought out. All right, so we got the palm rest off. I got to lift it out carefully. So when I lift it back, I'm just going to pull it back a little bit, and then we have to unplug this cable. Why do I know that? Because I've opened these before. I didn't just rip the cable because I knew it was going to be here. You explain things very well. Well, thank you. Does the bowl and screws have a magnet in it? Yes, this is actually, I bought this like at AutoZone or something. Yeah, this is a big magnet on the bottom, and it just holds them. And then if I need to just store them later, I have a whole stack of like little magnets, and I'll just throw it in here and then scrape them back out. And now I have all the screws in a ball of magnets, and then I put that in the bin with the customer's laptop. So that way, like if I don't need to put it back together right away. So every bin has a magnet in it that we have, and we keep everything in these tubs like this. Every laptop has its own tub, and then it prints a label. When we check it in, it prints a label that goes on the bin that keeps track of it. So, all right, we got the palm rest off. There it is. And now we have made it all the way in. Now, this is one of those machines where you have to take the palm rest off to change the battery. And there's the battery. It's a really weird design. The cells are all on one side with a little bit of cells here, and then this is actually, there's no cells in this little area right here. But it's, I don't know what they were thinking. It was a weird one. Let's see. Let's just look around real quick. This is where I get bad at keeping up with chat again. But we need to look at stuff. So switch screens. All right, so we're looking at the input circuit. And because this thing is so huge, I can barely get my microscope over here. So on the other side of the board is where those input jacks are. And if I can point with something, here we go. This is going to be our BQ chip or our power management chip. And the voltage is going to come, to these MOSFETs, this BQ chip is what's in charge of the protection circuit on the laptop. You're going to have a pair of MOSFETs that are told to shut off if it detects a short on the board. Well, because the AC adapter is shorting out when you plug it in, that means that these are probably shorted. I don't know if this is the protection MOSFETs or not, but I'm assuming that these are going to be shorted. So let's check. So we're just going to probe here. That's not shorted. That's not shorted. That's not shorted. What about these over here? They may be on the other side of the board. Yeah, so none of those are shorted open, like my suspicion. But we're going to have to pull the board out anyway, because we know that we have some burning smell. Now, the burning smell could just be inside the DC jack itself. But let me just keep taking this board out. Right, let me get back to the chat. So, keep taking screws out. So you're feeling really good about your 2014 15-inch 3000 series Inspiron, but you had to buy an aftermarket battery. Well, a 3000 series Inspiron are usually junk structurally. It's not necessarily internally. And if you had to buy an aftermarket battery, you had to buy one. I don't know if I have any or not. So if you've checked my site already and I don't have any, then that means I can't get them. But a lot of times, you know, I should have, you know, I have most batteries because I have like 700,000 parts back there in my warehouse. Let me get some coffee in me. You have a Precision 5550. So Precision 5550 would be an XPS. Same machine. So you have an XPS is what you have. And those run really hot, so keep them cool. So keep them clean. Clean the fans. And I don't mean, like, if you take the whole bottom off, pull your fans off, clean all the lint out of... do you see what I almost did? No, the battery is unplugged. I was going to plug the screen, and I was like, is the battery unplugged? Is the battery unplugged? So anybody who works on a laptop, if you have the battery plugged in and you unplug the screen, you can ruin stuff. So, I mean, this board's already bad anyway, but we do have the battery unplugged before we even started working on this because that's the right thing to do. I can't remember what screws need to come out here. I think we got them all. Ah, great design. You have to take the screen off to take the motherboard out. I missed this design. So we have to fish the Wi-Fi antennas back through the motherboard bottom here. And then we can pull this motherboard out. Used to have older Dells that were really slow when they booted up and had 3rd gen i3s. Well, they probably had mechanical drives too. So if you switched all those to solid states, it would be a lot faster. What's the best to put in your PC, a hard drive SSD or a stick SSD? So you're talking about a 2.5-inch SSD versus a M.2 NVMe. So let me show you real quick. So these are both considered SSDs. Here, let me grab one. That doesn't. Okay, here we go. Okay, so these are both considered SSDs. These are both M.2 slots, the actual slot that it goes into, but the interface, where this thing is actually interfacing, is different for each one. And I'll show you under the old microscope. So if you look at the keys on here, this one is a SATA, has 2 keys, and this is an NVMe or a PCIe, so it's actually connected to the PCI bus versus just running a SATA 3 mode. And so this one would run like, okay, this SATA would probably max out at like 500 megs or something like that, or 600 megs on that controller. I'm not 100% sure. So this is maxed out. And this one will max out at like, it depends if it's PCI 3 versus PCI 4, PCI 5. This is a Gen 4, so this one's what, 5,000 megs per second or something, 10 times the speed. So which one's better? If you can get an NVMe, which is a single key, and if your machine runs NVMe, then get that, because that's going to be way faster. Now, if you get a SATA, The 2.5-inch SATA drive versus this M.2 SATA, same drive, same speed. There's no difference at all. Sorry. Let's get back to the chat here. All right, more screws. So we got to pull the screen off just to pull this motherboard out. Jack, how you doing today? How's everyone doing? That's good old checking in here. How many more screws we got? If you guys are watching on the YouTube short stream, come over to the long form and you can actually interact with the chat. I'm not monitoring the chat on the YouTube short stream. So let's see, but the battery drains quick and turns off. Well, batteries will drain fast if you're using a lot of power. Am I missing a screw here? The screen does not want to come off. Aha, the magic screw. Okay. No, still under this wire. Yes, this is an awful design. I don't miss this design. I like what now that they're all hooked to the bottom of the palm rest, but I remember hating it, hating that design whenever it first came out, because I'm like, gosh, you got to pull everything off of this, but it's so much easier to access the motherboard. Okay, so M.2 SSD are both generic terms, more or less. M.2 is the plug, right? M.2 is the plug, whatever, the keyed plug, and then SSD means solid state drive, so it just means it's a solid state memory device, but it doesn't mean it's running at SATA speed or running at NVMe speed or PCIe lanes, right? I'm sure someone else can clarify better than me. I'm just kind of, this is just what my brain, how my brain wants to interpret it. I still call things hard drives, so what do I know? Okay, motherboard is stuck on something. Oh, gotta unplug the fans. Oh, look guys, look what just dumped out the back of this thing. Can you see that? Oh, that's pretty dusty. Trying to get this fan unplugged. The motherboard wants to come out already, but the fans aren't unplugged yet. Yeah, that's a lot of dirt. That's crazy. Yeah, I need a vacuum. Oh, I need a vacuum. That's what I need. Yeah, I have like a blower. Look at this thing. Woo! Oh my God. Okay, okay. I love it. I love it. Is that pretty nice? If it would stay focused. Pretty good. Oh, okay. Get this out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna, off camera, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna blow it, okay? I'm not gonna blow it over here, so I'll be right back. This is, I'm gonna blow it in the other room. And then clean off this counter. And if you're wondering what I'm using to blow it with, I'm using one of these guys. This thing's super efficient, just blows like crazy, and you can clean everything off really fast. Okay, let me wipe my desk off. This is, yeah, I don't have a mask. I got gloves right here. I don't have a mask right here. I need to go dig into my COVID hazmat kit. Oh, sure, I sent this off to the Gooch Meister. The Gooch collector wants this right here. Here, we'll put it right here so we can mail it to him later. How do I, wait, what do I think about, or what do I use for static control? What I usually do for static control is nothing. I'm on a concrete floor. I live in Austin, Texas that has 60% humidity, and I'm grounded to this table. This is all like, this is a silicon mat. I've never had an issue with it. I've been doing this 20-something years, 27 years or something. I've never blown out a component. Even these like chips, like I'm sitting here holding a chip right here. This is a EC chip. I can sit here and just do all this, all I want, and then stick it in a machine, it's still gonna work. Never blown out a stick of memory or anything like that either. So nothing to worry about. Most of the time, it's pretty durable. And then the boards are kind of grounded to themselves. Where can you get the blower? Did y'all get the name of that blower? I can't remember what it is called. I have no idea where I bought this. Metrovac. DataVac electric duster. I mean, that thing... It's like it's bending my skin in. It has so much pressure coming out of this. So I don't know where it is. I can maybe find a link and put it in my description, but I don't have it there right now. All right, board is out. The board is out. Let's take a quick look around. Well, that's a good sign. Doesn't smell bad. So what smells bad? This DC jack probably had an arc when I plugged it in, maybe. It was like right as I was plugging in, it arced itself. I don't want to sniff right here because we have all this dust here still, so we're going to let that be. But we will figure out if there's a short on here or not. How do you get into this business? I don't know if you want to be in this business. It's a grind, man. Doing repair is a grind. This is only 5% of my, or it's less than it, maybe 4% of my business is repair. We sell, basically we specialize in Dell laptops and Alienware, and so we stock all the parts, so that's the real business. Our repair department's always been kind of a secondary thing where we're just kind of to offer full service for customers, so do you want to be in this business, really? I don't know. Not much money to be made. You kind of, everything's a grind. So, let's see if we can get, ooh, look what we have out, running. The thermals. So I have the thermal camera set up because we know that we're probably gonna have a short on here somewhere. And it's probably, we can kind of jump straight to it. So, I'm just gonna measure real quick that, I think this was the one that we measured and it had a short on it, if I do recall. So we're just gonna measure that again. And we do have a short there. And what are we measuring now? Hey, that's good. 0.11. So we measured 0.3 before. Maybe I wasn't making perfect contact, or maybe my ground wasn't as good. So, yeah, so this guy's good. So we don't have to worry about it being a bad GPU anymore, because if it was a bad GPU, it would be higher than that. And if it's a bad CPU, it would be higher than that. So this is probably just a shorted capacitor somewhere. And we get to inject some voltage to figure it out. And we could do a look around the board, but what fun is that? If we look around the board, we'll be looking for some sort of component that is has a crack in it or something like that. But we just inject voltage, it will light up on the thermal camera because it'll be shorting back to ground and it will get hot. So should we do the thermal camera or should we just look around the board? Which one should we do? Let's vote. Okay, so we got 77% so far says use the thermal camera. And again, on the YouTube Shorts, I'm going to have to kind of keep saying this. So I'm not monitoring YouTube Shorts chats, and there's a polls I'm putting up on the long. So just jump on over to the long, the full length feed on our YouTube channel. All right, look first, thermal. Look first, Chris. Thank you for the donation. All these donations are going to pay for this customer's repair. So 79%. Okay, we're going. We're going in. We got 108 votes out of the 632 people watching. If you want to cast your vote, go ahead, but I'm about to end it because I think that we're good. 80%, you're going to have a hard time catching up with that. So, so how are we going to do this? We're going to inject voltage. I'm going to use, you can use a power supply. Sorry, my camera is not working right. There we go. So you can use a bench power supply like this. This is the cheapo power supply. And then you just limit the current. And then, or you can use this thing, which is stupid, but it beeps, and I love it because of that. It's stupid because it doesn't have a current limiter, but it's I love it because it beeps, and so it tells me what's going on. Thanks for the $5 donation. I appreciate that. So what we're going to do is, if we start with 1.5 volts, whatever this main power rail is shorted to, it's going to send that 1.5 volts to it. So like I said, like if we thought that it was the GPU or CPU, absolutely you do not want to send 1.5 volts to it. It probably won't hurt it all the way, but that's too much. If it's shorted to the PCH or the chipset, you don't want that either. So what you generally do is you always just turn down the voltage. And then based on how many ohms you're measuring, which we measured basically 0, like 0.1, really low, right? Then you know, if you use Ohm's law, then voltage times current equals power, right? So how many watts are going to go in it? So we don't actually need that many volts. We can actually go down to like 0.6 even, and we'll have plenty of amps to go through there. So I'm just setting it on the ground. I have one side hooked onto my ground with just an alligator clip here. And then we're going to inject voltage at that point where we had the short, which is right here. And so when I inject that, the system's going to start pulling some amps. 4 amps, that's a lot. So we're going to go down 2 amps. There we go. Now 2 amps at 0.4 volts isn't very much, or 0.5. And let's see if we can figure out what is getting hot. So a lot of these things you're seeing are reflections. Chris, thank you for another donation. Man, back to back. So a lot of these things you're seeing are reflections, and the way we can tell that they're reflections is if I tilt the board, they go away. See that? So I'm going to tilt the board, they go away. Now, so far, I'm not seeing anything just jumping out at me. We would see usually something lighting up pretty big time, and I'm not seeing that. I come on this side where we're actually injecting it. Let me see if I can get my hand out of the way. And nothing's heating up over here. So nothing on this side, or there's nothing on this side of the board, or it's underneath the heatsink because we have the CPU and GPU on there. I'm going to go ahead and just keep the heatsink on here. We're going to flip it over, and then we'll inject again. But we need to find a point to inject to because this was our injection point that was shorted. But I'm sure there's another point on the board that is shorted, so let's go find that. Let me fix my webcam wire. I have something pulling it. It's messing it up. So we will measure, let me measure like something off a main power rail. Let's see if I can find a main power rail connection. Over here, we'll definitely have a main power rail connection. So a current sense resistor like this one. Let's see if we have a short there. We do. And that one's back to higher? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So now we're back up to 0.2 something, 0.3. Why is it moving around so much? Capacitors might be filling up or something. I don't know. But so we can inject voltage there on this current sense resistor. And so let's do that. I'm going to turn this board around so we can still see. it. Okay. All right, here we go. So we will put the alligator clip on ground. We're still at the 0.5. And we're pulling 3 amps. You can see right there, 3 amps. And we'll just kind of drive around here. There it is. So does everyone see it? Now to verify that it is the shorted component, I'm going to take the power off, see if it goes away, put the power back on. It heats back up. So we can tell it's in this area somewhere right there. Okay, I'm going to move my finger. So now to hone in, because your thermal camera, the purpose of the thermal camera is kind of get you close. And I know a lot of people want to use those macro lenses and get all right up on it. It's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to know where it is eventually, or close. And then we can zoom in. And sometimes you can see what's wrong, but I don't see what's wrong. I think it's one of these guys. But I don't know for sure, so what we're going to do is just put a little alcohol on it. Like that. And then we will inject voltage back on that current sense resistor. And see what actually goes away. And we have a winner. As Dave would say it, we have a winner. So did you guys identify which one it was? I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. I know which one it is, so... We only got 4 choices. It is one of those, that gang there. I'm going to put the stuff back on it. So we have alcohol on it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Three, two, one. More alcohol. Okay. Does everyone see it? Right, bottom right. So it's this one right here. So if you look at it, because we don't know which one it is, and then we put alcohol on it, and you see how it evaporates? It's because it's getting hot, so it's shorting straight to ground. So basically that capacitor is connected to one side's the main power rail, 19 volts, 20 volts, and the other side is ground. So it's actually taking all that voltage and going straight back to ground. So I'm only putting in half a volt, so at 1 amp or 2 amps or whatever it is, so we're, you know, a couple watts. So since we know that it is not a going through the CPU, we can actually up the voltage a little bit, which will up our amps, so we'll up our power, right? Because it's all relative. And now we can make it really cook. Sizzle. Sizzle. There you go. All right, so we've identified it. Now we can just take it off, and that should be easy enough to fix. And this board should be fixed, because this is a simple one. And then we can go to another machine after that. Do you think the upper left and the bottom right? I don't know if there's 2. The odds that there'll be 2 is very low. I mean, I think Soren had one the other day that was 2, and I had one the other day that was 2, but it was like 2 different power rails too, so I don't know if one caused the other. But let's just take off this bottom one, and then we'll figure it out. We'll take off the bottom one first. So we're going to use our hot air station, 450 degrees C, 60% air. What else do you need to know? And I don't even see a crack in this. Usually you'll be able to see like a little crack here, but I bet the crack's on the bottom. And what's interesting, actually, before we take this off all the way, I don't know if this machine's been taken apart or not, but you see how this solder ball, this is like a little joint. You see, it's supposed to be a ball like this. These almost look like like people have been stabbing these, but see, all these are flat. Why are they flat? And then this has like a scratch on it or something. Did I just do that scratch just now? I don't know. You can't even see it. I think it's too bright. Yeah, you can kind of see the scratch on it. The camera's not showing it very well, but there's like a little scratch right there. I might have just done that on it. I don't know. Does it mean that somebody broke it, took it apart, hit it with something? I don't know. All right, so let's take this capacitor off, like I said. How did I learn micro soldering? Doing it. So watching these videos, watching Soren's channel, watching Louis Rossmann, any YouTuber that's doing stuff, just watch them. And then you kind of have to, learn by doing. I own this business forever, so I've always been working on. I've been soldering since I was like 10 years old, like with a regular soldering iron. But I got my first hot air station probably, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I only got a microscope, a decent microscope, only a few years ago. So I haven't even had a microscope that long. Usually just did it without it. But okay, so we're gonna take this guy off of here, and I could actually see stuck to the board. I think that's part of the capacitor probably. So we flip this guy over. I bet we have a crack. Look at that, totally shattered on the underneath. So you can see that it actually is cracked right here. So that's what our issue is going to be, and so that should actually resolve that. Vico, thank you for the $5 donation to this person's repair. All right, so now we can measure to see if our short is gone. So that side is ground, and that side is not ground, so it's not shorted. So our short is gone. Will it turn on? We'll go ahead and put a new capacitor on there now. That way we're done with that. One in a million crack to find. Yeah, you couldn't even see it. You had to use the voltage injection to do that for sure. Because the visual wouldn't have, pointed out anything. Where'd all my solder go? Where's all my solder? You want me to check the top left still? I mean, the short is gone. So you want me to check this guy? Right here? These are all tied to the same power rail, by the way. So we have grounds on the outside, most likely. Let's see, how is this? So this whole middle rail, this is all a main power rail right here. You can see it go all the way up. And then this is going to be a ground line right there. That's what that's tied to. And this is going to be a ground line right here. That's what that's tied to. So if I'm not measuring a short there, then the short's gone. I mean, there's no... I mean, I can check it. If you want me to poke it, I can. It's not going to be shorted. So we have ground on that side. And then we have not ground on that side. Again, that's what's the same as this. These are all electrically connected here. And then this area should be electrically connected. So that should be 0 from here to here. Because this is ground on this side, that's ground on that side. If that makes sense. You want to use hot tweezers? We can use hot tweezers if you want. So I'm just putting some leaded solder on here. Makes it melt a little bit easier. 11 degrees in Poland right now. Wow, that sounds nice. That's like 50 degrees C or 52 or something like that. I mean, F, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me grab a donor board. I don't know what that capacitor is. Back here's all of our donor boards. And here is the stack of these boards. Here we go. So we have the same board, and I can just pull one of those off of there. Right there. Makes it a lot easier that I have all the parts, right? And that's why I only specialize in Dell. So much easier, right? People always ask me, why are you only specialized in Dell and Alienware? It's because I have all the parts. And then I could be the expert in something, right? Instead of being mediocre at all these other things. Hey, Ted, thanks for the $5 donation. Really appreciate the education. Yeah. I appreciate you donating to the stream and donating to this customer's repair. So I'm just going to add a little flux to take this off. I don't really need to, but it'll be all right. Yeah, so whenever you want to get started doing this stuff, you just kind of have to buy some, equipment and kind of start practicing on your own. And a good way of you know, practicing is on something that you already know is broken. So taking parts off, putting them on is a good way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up this solder just enough. You see it got shiny. I'm going to tack it here like this, and then I'm going to move away. You see how it's all crooked? It's because I don't care. I'm just going to leave it like that. No, I'm just kidding. The best way to do this is to kind of get it tacked on the board, and then once you have it on the board, you can add a little bit more flux that will allow the solder to flow, and then the surface tension will actually hold the capacitor in place. And so watch this. When I reheat it, it's going to sit itself back in there. See how it wants to be where it wants to be? And that's it. And there's a little bit too much solder on there, so we can clean that up if you want. Doesn't really matter. It's not going to hurt anything. But you see how this solder is doing that? You see what's like doing a little point? It's because you need flux. Add more flux, and it won't do that. See? It's like, ooh, it likes to run. So if you've always been a bad solderer, then it's probably because you don't have good flux. So I actually just bought some more flux. We talked about it last week, that I bought some flux from AliExpress, which I wasn't very happy with. I put it in this syringe, but it's all yellow. And then I went ahead and I just went back and bought some more from Northridge Fix because I know that what I'm getting is good. And here it is. It's nice and pretty, and it works great. So the one I like to use is actually this 213. Amtech 213. 559 is what the other people like, and that one is a little more yellow, so I don't know. It's too sticky. I really like this 213 stuff, so I don't really know what the difference is, so I'm sure someone can clarify that. So the short is gone. Do you want me to measure that capacitor again? I can do that if you'd like, just to prove it. Oh, we still got to clean up this mess too. So the short is gone. There's no short there. And I cleaned it with a Q-tip a second ago, but we're going to use a toothbrush. And what I like to do is I toothbrush it like this. This is how I get all the flux off of. And then I take one of these chem pads. Let's see if I have some more. Take one of these chem pads, and with alcohol on there, then I brush through it, brush through it, brush through it. Just kind of moving around, and that will pick up all the residuals, and then it will be nice and brand new. Like nothing happened. There you go, like nothing happened, except for this big, ugly solder joint. But it's gonna work fine, okay, so the next question is, does everyone want to have me screw it back together to see it turn on? Probably, that's probably a good idea. I need to blow all this stuff out of here real quick, so I'll be right back. Oh, I think that was worse than a heatsink. Those fans had a lot of dust in it. Okay, I'm missing some chats, so let me see if I can get lined up here, get all this stuff out of my way, and then I wish there was someone here just reading chats to me so I can answer them, because it's hard to multitask. Okay. I'm gonna have to slide down here. I saved another laptop! So that's what I'm supposed to say, but I haven't turned it on yet. So the short is gone. Will it turn on? So that's what we're going to check next. Try to get all this lined up and put back in here. I really hate this design. It's going to be so much work just to get it back together. But I think I can just put it together temporarily. We're not going to do the whole every screw because you don't need to watch that. But we can get it together enough to test it, and then I'll finish it tomorrow off stream, and then we can move on to another machine, because the night is young. It's only been 1 hour. You need a bench tour. Maybe I'll put a vote up for a bench tour. We could do that in a few minutes between laptops, I guess. I've done it in the past. You know, we did a walk around. Who was here for my walk around the warehouse and the walk around the whole building tour? We did that one a while back. Okay. Next. Yeah, so I'm just going to put a few screws in here just to get it tacked in, and then we're going to turn it on to prove that I'm not a fraud. And then we will continue to the next machine, to the next episode. You remember? Oh, Gordon remembers the walk around. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I tried that out. That was a new thing I tried. So basically, on my cell phone, I was able to cast my cell phone's camera back to OBS, and then I had my wireless mic on, and so I was able to walk around, which was pretty neat. Now, there's going to be a little bit of delay or lag or whatever if I do that, but, you know, you can only do what you can do. So I'm just going to temporarily bolt this screen on here. Don't forget to replace the 7950. Oh, yeah. Should I put 7950 on here? I don't know about that. I probably should change the heatsink compound out. Yeah, that would be a nice thing to do. So the thermal paste that's on this machine is probably as old as the machine. And so we'll have to pull the board out to actually change out the heatsink compound. But the rule of thumb is don't change out your heatsink compound, especially with expensive stuff like PTM 7950, until you know the darn thing works. So I have the screen plugged in. We have a couple screws in here. Let me add one more. I've got two in the screen. Let me add one more here. Oh, yeah, this thing's, I need more screws. Yeah, I have lots of shelves. There's 14,000 square feet back there and 700,000 parts. 700,000. And about almost a little under 20 employees. But. So I have it set up where like all the guys, all the people working, so all the stuff comes in on one side of the warehouse, they test it all, and then it goes through on the other side of the warehouse. Okay, I'm just going to plug in the DC jack. Now we hope the DC jack's not melted, right? This thing needs another screw. Why do you need so many screws, man? Don't forget the fans. Yeah, I need to plug the fans in. Thank you. Everyone's so helpful. Yeah, I'll plug in the fans. We'll plug in the DC jack. I need to plug in the palm rest to plug in the power button. And I'm not going to do a full assembly, but we're just going to figure out if it works. Okay, that's plugged in. One fan is. Where's the other fan at? 700,000 parts is a lot. Yeah, so you know what's funny is I started this business with $5,000. Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago though. 21 years old, 5,000 bucks in cash that I'd saved in my sock drawer, but don't look at my sock drawer now. And bought some stuff and started selling on eBay, then put up a website and started selling it on there. And just kept reinvesting and never lived above my means, and so it allowed it to grow. And then got very, very good. I got lucky with my employees because I have the same employees I've had forever. So, let's see, and I got 3 that have been here for 20 years. 3 that have been here for 20 years, which is nuts. And then the rest of them have been here for at least 10 years. I got a few that are 15 years. People don't want to leave. But I treat them well, they treat me well. Okay, the touch, let's see, the power button's plugged in. Now I gotta route all these cables down through here. I'm just gonna plug in the keyboard, I think. We just really want to see the Dell screen, right? Okay. Moment of truth. All right. I didn't do a vote. We usually do a vote that says, will it turn on? I got to reset my charger, though. Hold on. My camera fell down. Hello, camera. Okay. You got to see under my table. Okay, so we're going to plug in the charger and figure out, do y'all want to vote? Is that just, it just makes it a little more interactive, I guess, right? Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So while you're doing that, 100%. 100% of the people. Okay, there's some sourpusses in there. But at first I was like 100%. Man, I'm good. And YouTube short people, you cannot vote. You have to jump over to the long form stream if you can't, because of the chat. I'm not monitoring that chat. But jump over and you can vote if you're watching on the YouTube short stream. We're at 89% saying it's going to turn on. Now, turn on and work is what I mean by that, by the way. Is it going to work? Am I going to get the Alienware screen? Because turning on by itself doesn't really, you know, is it just going to turn the fans on, basically? Oh, yeah, I'm not wearing pants, actually. I'm wearing just a Speedo. That's it. I like to do repairs in a Speedo. Yeah, 90%. That's pretty confident. Easy pizza. Dave says easy pizza. Okay. Equally on, functionally yes. Okay. Equals functionally yes. Sherry is laughing her head off. Are you just picturing me in a Speedo? Hello from Jamaica. Yeah, no pants. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll because we got 182 votes on that. And okay, 87% of the people say I'm awesome. The other 12% say I'm a fraud. Okay, where's the plug again? All right, so keep an eye on this power meter right around there. And it did not turn off, so that's a good sign. It's pulling 0.01, so that's telling us that it's doing something, right? And we are going to press the power button and see what happens. I hear something. It's pulling amps. 1.58, 1.65, 1.77. I got the Alienware head. I don't have the keyboard backlight plugged in, so don't judge that. No pants Wednesday. And I saw the Alienware screen for a second. And we have picture! That's crazy! Oh, come on, where's the picture? Or it's picture, right? We have picture. So we got 2.5 amps or 2.3 amps. I saw the Alienware screen for a second. CMOS reset's going to happen because it has been unplugged. But it's just hanging at 2.34, which is not a normal amount unless it's charging. Let's turn it back off. Hey, we have picture. There we go. Yep. So we are good to go, man. That was it. I saved another laptop. And we're going in the BIOS, and that laptop's fixed. All right. So that one's done. All right. So we can. Shall we start another one? Or y'all want to do the tour real quick? I mean, we're not going to do a full tour. I'm not going to walk around the warehouse or anything like that. But we can, let me see if I can get my phone set up to stream. I might need to do it in my, let's see if this works. So, cell phone. Give me a second to play around with this real quick. All right, let's see if this works. upside down? Which way do we have it? This way. It's kind of zoomed in. Let's try, which one did I have? Phone cam? There we go. That's pretty good. Now on YouTube, on the YouTube stream, YouTube short stream, it looks crazy because I never set this view up. So do with whatever you can. It's fine, I'm sure. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just have my photo app up and then, or my video app up, and that way you can just see what's coming through my camera. So I'm not really filming or anything, but it's just a workaround I came up with. Okay, so if we look here, this is my setup right here. And I just knocked over one of my lights by rolling backwards. So I just have a few different lights around me. I got a hair light up there, and then I have an overhead light above me. These are all motherboards up in this rack up here, just a thing that I built. And I've already toured before, I know, Matt, but some people are asking to see. And so you guys just keep an eye out around here. So back here is all my donor boards. And I knocked over this light, so let me pick that up. Here. And then, so donor boards, basically whenever I have a lot of machines coming in, or motherboards, I buy a lot of stuff from Dell, and so sometimes they come in bad. Some of them are just customer machines that are bad. I can't read chat when I'm walking around, so you guys can talk amongst yourselves. So here's my store. This is the main lobby area, or the main area that you come in. And so I have laptops for sale. This is my repair area for some of my other techs. And there's my old laptop museum. Here's some more old laptops. You can see, we actually worked on one of these in a live stream a while back. There's an LS, there's an LM. This one's like from 1994. That thing. It's a probably 97 machine. There's another LS. Anyway, and then my warehouse is back here, but all the lights aren't on, so I can't really walk you around, but it's pretty big. This is all motherboards all the way down this row right here, and then these are all aisles. That's all LCD screens, back covers, bezels, you know, every single part, batteries. This is all more stuff coming in, more stuff, people testing stuff back right here. So, and then the shipping's out the back. So that's kind of a quick little walk around here. And hopefully you can hear me on my wireless mic. So I'm coming back. There we go. How was that? Could y'all see my pants? No pants, no pants. So did everyone get a good enough view of what was going on there? Yeah, massive place, 14,000 square feet, which is, it's small compared to like some of my other vendors that deal with the same stuff. They'll have like 50,000 square feet, but I only work in Dell, yeah. So hopefully that kind of summed up what I have, my equipment here. Now, should we do another vote for those last two machines? That way you can re-vote. I think it's a good idea. So let's do that. So we're going to pick the next laptop. Okay, and that was an Alienware. I can't remember now. They're all Alienware now. Alienware X14 won't turn on. And then the other one was what? 93 something? 9345. XPS 9345 USB-C issues or something like that. Okay, so there's your vote. So those are just the other two machines. Everyone's already voted on the, you know, we went on that first one, but y'all can cast your votes again. Hey, Chris, thanks for the donation again. Hey, man, you guys are throwing out lots of stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. So all this money for these streams are going to be distributed between the repairs. I'm not going to take a single dime of this. So let's see. Show me the money. All right. So right now we're at 50-50. All right, so we're going to need a tiebreaker. We're at 51% for the USB issues. Now remember, the XPS 9345 is a laptop I've never opened before in my whole life. It's one of the first times I've seen a Snapdragon CPU. So it'd be something interesting to look at least. I don't know if I can even fix it. I don't know, if we have the parts or whatever. The X14, I've worked on a few of those. A lot of them have LCD cable issues. So that could be the issue with that. I don't know. Or it could be a BIOS issue. I've seen that on the X14. Again, I don't really know what's wrong with it. So we could probably have time. We're only an hour and 18 minutes left or into the stream, and I usually spend a little bit more time than that on these streams, so we have time. Taylor just sent another $10 donating to the cause. Oh yeah, you like my shirt here? So I made some shirts. I have them on sale. There's a link inside the video description if you wanted to get one of these shirts that I'm wearing. Right now, 55% is XPS 9345 for the USB issues, so it's still pretty close. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. And let's see if we can vote. There we go. Yes, the XPS. So a lot of people want to see the XPS. Paul, thank you for the donation. What does the shirt say? Here, look at it again. It's problem solver, but it's Sovlum Probler. It's basically, it's like the words are flipped, but the last two letters are what stays. Yeah. I love it. You like to see me stumble. Yeah, so I'm going to stumble for sure, I can tell you. Either one of them. I mean, any repair, that's why I'm a lot more comfortable with these live streams, because you have to perform on demand, and so, but if it's okay to fail, right? So I'm okay with that. We can do the best we can. Got a problem solver? Read that shirt, yeah. Okay, so 54% is on that XPS. This is too close to call. 53%. Oh no, it's like the election. Hello from Jamaica. Corey from Jamaica has just tuned in. Cast your votes. If you're on YouTube Shorts, sorry you can't vote, but if you're on the YouTube Short stream, you can come on over to our the full live stream, and then you can vote. And we're about to open up another laptop. I have no idea what we're going to get into. Did we lose audio? Can everyone hear me? My mic says it's working, so. Flip a coin. I know, it's basically flip a coin, isn't it? Okay, good. People can hear me, so we're good to go with the audio still. And last week I plugged it in and it sounded better. Let me see if I plug it in and see if the audio gets better. Did the audio change when I just plugged it in just now? So it was running on battery, now I just plugged it in. I just don't know if it has better quality when it's plugged in or not. Okay, 51%. Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me. Oh, it's 51%, 52%. Okay, so it's 50-50 still. Come on. No audio. Yeah, well, everyone else can hear the audio. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about it. So 48% to 52% of XPS is winning. So let's just flip a coin, I guess. Do I have a coin? Do people have coins still? Let me go get a coin out of my cash drawer real quick. Just going to get some money out of my cash drawer here. Okay. Now, I guess we could technically have slanted it towards the winner of the first vote. So the second place, I think it was like 18% to 14%. So technically, the X14 should be the next one, okay? But we have a coin here, and it is a 1994 quarter. Perfectly weighted, by the way. Perfect. So, Now we're going to do a vote. Let's do a vote for if it's heads or tails. That's even better. Let's see. We're going to say, I don't know how we're going to do that. Heads or tails. Heads for, okay, so we're going to say heads for, no, I don't know. How would I question that? Because we're going to say, we're going for the XPS. And so if it is heads, and heads XPS, tails, we'll just do that. Heads XPS, tails is going to be the Alienware. All right? And I'm just going to let it drop on here. No, it might roll. I better catch it and then we'll flip it. Okay, ready? Okay, I caught it. Okay, ready? And so heads, XPS. Tails, X14. All right, so we're going to X14. And then we'll do the XPS next. X14, where are you? There you are. Ah, this one's already in pieces. So I had another one of my techs looking at this. So, customer's note says, I was playing games, screen randomly shut off, but the keyboard and the fans were still on. Okay, all right. When it turned off, it turned back on, the same problem occurred. Error 27. 27 means bad screen, if you look up the error code. When I took the computer to a repair shop, they said a ribbon cable in the LCD got ripped. Yeah, it got ripped by who? The repair shop, probably. But although the mechanisms on these cables are really strange, so, I mean, it could have gotten ruined, you know, over time just from stress cracks or whatever. CPU fan makes a lot of noise. Finally, the WP and question marks don't work. Well, that's something different altogether anyway. Right now, there's no power on the laptop. So he took it to a repair shop for a 2.7 error. And then now, it doesn't work at all. Dun, dun, dun. So it's in pieces, which is fine. So this machine has a really funky, oh God, this thing is worn out too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so does this guy play games, or girl? Does this person play games while having lotion on their fingers? That's kind of what ends up eating away at all this stuff. Oh, I need to update what model we're working on here. Alienware X14 turn on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I know for a fact that these machines, if the battery, I mean not the battery, if the screen is not working or the cable's messed up, the thing won't post. So you can't even like kind of trick it into posting or trying to post or give you some sort of message with the screen not working. So it's going to be hard to kind of diagnose this without knowing if we have a good screen or not. But I do have a test machine. I have a lot of test parts for it, so we'll be able to plug in anything we want. So that will be okay. So let's plug in our power meter. And so we got to switch power meters. So we're not going to use this one because this one only uses the barrel jacks. So I'm going to switch over to my other power meter. And so everyone should see it now on the screen. It's a different power meter. So this is going to be my USB-C power meter setup. So we're going to plug this in and we're going to pay attention to what it's doing. So it negotiated 20 volts. So USB-C starts at 5 volts. Then it will talk to the, or speak with the USB-C PD controller chip and then negotiate up to 20 volts. And then it should start pulling current. Now, this board technically should start pulling current right away. But because there's no CMOS battery in here and there's no battery or main battery, then technically it should start pulling current unless this is a machine where the EC chip is programmed separately, and then it shouldn't turn on automatically. So I'm looking at the EC chip. I'm looking at the EC chip, and what do you see? So this repair shop, look at that, guys. We don't have the full story, do we? This is our EC chip, by the way. EC chip stands for embedded controller. It's a microcontroller that has a bunch of GPIO, general input output pins that are looking for power button presses and communicates with the keyboard and all that stuff. But this is a chip that is programmed once, and this is what handles turning on the board. To me, this looks like it's been reflowed or changed. There's flux all around it. So I don't understand how this had anything to do with the ribbon cable, right? Yeah, I don't know if it's burnt or if it's just not programmed right, or if someone's pulled it, put it back on, or put a new one on, or it's not, yeah. It's probably not programmed if they replaced it. They're like, oh, the EC chip's bad. But why would they change the EC chip? Why don't we have real notes? Because the customer notes don't say anything about this. Yeah, there's flux everywhere. Let me zoom out so we can get kind of a bigger picture here. So yeah, you can see all this flux right here in between these. You see all that? This is all flux. Look, there's a pile of flux right here still. This is all flux. Man, this thing's fluxed up. Okay, that's gonna be a shirt. And then what's this? Evidence of heat, right? And what is this chip next to it? This is a BIOS chip. It's a firmware chip of some sort, but you know what type of chip it is? If you look at the number 25Q80DV, so this 80 is the size of the chip, the physical size or the memory, not physical size of the memory, but it's 1 meg chip. It's a 1 meg chip. It is not the BIOS chip, people. If you see a chip that says 80 on it, it is not the BIOS chip. Move on, move on. Find the BIOS chip. It's not that one, okay? Yeah, generally the BIOS chip would be next to the EC chip, but it's going to be on the other side of the board on this one. I think it's like right here in the middle. But so this one's probably going to go to the PD controller or the Thunderbolt controllers. It can go to, there's a bunch of these that are usually on the board. So I'm going to pull this board out real quick, and that way we can take a look. Or maybe we can, here, I didn't even hit the power button. Let's press the power button. All right, so keeping our eye on the power meter. 3, 2, 1. Nothing. Right? Does it have a power button connected? It is. The power button's connected. Is the cable ripped? Nope. So power button's connected. It's not doing anything. So I'm going to say we have a bad EC programming, because the machine's not going to power on without the EC chip having the right programming. Now, I'm not to say that the chip's not soldered right or the chip is bad or whatever. I mean, there's more stuff involved, but let's just point to the EC chip as being our primary issue at this point. Now, does that mean we need to pull the EC chip off to check to make sure it's like soldered right and, you know, all that? Or did they just kind of reflow it? Is the EC chip getting voltage? There we go. See, these are things that you need to check for. So generally, whenever you're trying to figure out is it a firmware issue, or is it a physical, like power, or I guess, is it a power rail issue, right? So EC and BIOS, you'll generally have all the power rails come up and stay on, or come up for a second right when you plug it in and turn back off. So if we're going to look here, we should have some voltages, at least an LDO, which we do have an LDO, because an LDO is a low dropout regulator, and so I would just say it's a linear voltage regulator that powers the EC chip. It's kind of my quick wording for it, but you can see that it's on because we're pulling 0.01 on the meter there, so we have something on. So let's find a 3.3 volt line going into this EC chip. So we're going to put this in voltage mode now. And right here, should have 3.3. We got 3.0. That's the power button line, probably. Let's see where else. Here? No. This microscope, something's wrong with my settings here. There we go. .3. So usually the power button's 3.0. I know it seems like a low value, but usually the power button itself is 3.0, and then the rest of it's going to be 3.3 powering the chip. EC chip issues are better than BIOS, yeah. EC chips are very, like, most shops won't be able to deal with it, so that's why it can be an interesting thing, but identifying the fault is part of the issue, you know, is making sure that that's what we have. Let's check the main power rail, and the way we do that is we need to find another power rail being created and look for an input. So here's the power management chip for the whole board, so we're going to have 19 on one of those. Coming in, usually pin something. I can't remember the pin number, but it's usually on the opposite side of pin 1. So where's pin 1? Pin 1's right here, so we should have 19 on this leg. And we got our 19 right there. And then LDO is going to be this next one over. Should be 5 volts right there. So, well, pin 2, or not, whatever pin. Yeah, I got 0 on that. And then this next one should be AC detect. We got 3.6. So, kind of missing some part of that, but this is a hard one, guys. This makes it difficult because somebody's been working on this, right? Someone's been working on this. Someone's been messing with stuff. Is it the EC chip? Probably. But was it the EC chip to start with? No. So we have to get the machine turning on before we can fix the screen issue, if that's what the issue is having. Oh yeah, customer said there was a burnt chip, right? Hold on, we still have all the screws in here from that last repair. Got to take all these out of here. We never counted them. Should we count them real quick? And then do a vote, or should I just put them away? Yeah, I'm going to just put them away. And we'll deal with that later because I don't want to have to go back to that. Yeah, customer's note. Let's go back to the customer's note real quick. We're going to read this. We really have to focus because we know what they're writing in here is 100% true. Oh, man. Shuts off. They said there was a rip. There was a burnt chip. LCD cable got ripped and there was a burnt chip. You know, this sounds to me, and I hate to say this, it sounds to me like the repair shop broke something. But I don't know. I don't know. So let's do our inspection around the board. First, I need some coffee. So we're going to do a once around the board, and that way we can see that burnt chip. That was probably caused by a repair shop opening it up and not knowing how this thing works. But that's okay. Not really. So they talked about the LCD connector. So here's the LCD connector. Wait, this is the LCD connector. And that's a fusey fuse. We can check that fuse. Fuse is fine. And that's just a little sticky stuff. I'm going to go fairly slow for people, but say, hey, I found something, you know. You guys are pretty good at that. So what kind of chip do we have here? I want you guys to learn on which is a BIOS chip and which is not. So what the numbers on that one is 25Q16JW. 16 stands for the size of it. So the other one was 80, and that was 1 meg. So how big is this one? And would that be a BIOS chip? It's a BIOS chip for something. It's not the BIOS chip for the motherboard. So it's not the UEFI BIOS. So that's a 2 meg chip if it's 16. And 2 megs is not going to be the size that we're going to have to run the entire BIOS. So this one is probably going to be a 32 meg or a 64 meg chip. So it'll be a 128 or 256, or even could be a 512 chip. So, all right, we're going to keep looking. So we already looked at this top row. We'll scan across, all the way across. Okay, good. I don't see anything ripped. I don't see any burnt. This is under the CPU. And this is under the GPU. They talked about it being near the LCD connector, I thought. Maybe they're saying that the EC chip got burned out. Maybe that's what they meant. I have more of those EC chips. I actually have a donor board for this too. So we can actually just pull an EC off without even having to program it. But what fun is that? Yeah, my microscope's a little squeaky. I know that you all said that. So if I adjust my knob here too loose, then it drops by itself. So I have to kind of keep my knob kind of tight, and it squeaks when I turn it. So sorry about that. I'll lube it up eventually. Okay, so there's our fun EC chip again. Yeah, we'll probably end up pulling that off. Because that must be the burnt chip. That was caused by the ripped cable, but they were getting a 2.7 when they took it into the shop. And then they came back and the whole machine didn't work. Okay, well, that's all we can see on that side and everything looks fine. I don't see the burnt chip that the person is talking about. So does that mean that's on the other side of the board? Keep my knobs tight. So luckily I know where everything is on this board, so we just take our time. Am I still zoomed in on this? There we go. I was like, what is that view? All right, we got 726 people watching right now. I don't know how many people are watching on YouTube Shorts, but if you're on YouTube Shorts, I'm not monitoring that chat, so come on over to our live stream, the main stream, and then you can interact with the chat. And we're going to just pull this board out quickly. The cooling fans need cleaning. Yes, they do. You can see that for sure. But I want to show you, actually, let me see if I can show you the mechanism. So here's the LCD cable. Where's the mechanisms at? I wish I could have showed you it installed already, because your mind would be absolutely blown. This is not an easy pizza, by the way. An easy pizza just means that it's just like a simple part. This is more like a lot of diagnosing and trial and error. So if you would have seen this mechanism, it would have blown your mind for the screen. And it's really hard for me to even get it going properly, but let's see. Wait, these are hinges. Those are the hinges. Where's the mechanism at? There we go. So you might say, like, that's the craziest thing you've ever seen. That's what you're going to say when you see this, okay? And I don't know if I've shown this on any other videos. So this little apparatus is a piece of metal with a spring and a roller. This the middle part's like a roller, and then it's a spring, okay? It installs right here, okay? Then the LCD cable plugs into the bottom of the screen, I think like that. No, wait, it's going to go this way. Plugs in the back of the screen like that, probably. Yeah, like that. And then this cable is going to route through this thing and then back around and back out. I have to take pictures of this to figure out how to even route this thing properly. And then it routes back around like that. There you go. And then this wraps around the back of the board, plugs into the motherboard like this. Like that. Okay, so now it's plugged in. And then when the screen's closed, the tension on this little spring is all the way out. And then when you open it, it pulls it. Actually, this needs to be flipped over. I think. Let's see. I have it in there backwards. Whatever it is, whenever you open and close it, the cable rolls on this roller and pulls the roller over. Over and over again. Every single time you open the laptop or close the laptop, it's actually rolling this cable on that roller. And so that's where you end up getting a stress crack, or it's actually, there's a strain relief there. It's actually this part that ends up cracking is right here where it folds into the screen. So this is not something that is supported. It has like an extra layer of plastic over the ribbon cable. So we've seen these cables go out a lot, and so I have new ones right here. And so that's what I would have suspected why the machine was giving that error. It's pretty, straightforward. If we would have seen it, we would have just said, okay, bad cable, replace the cable and been done. But But now the board's bad because of the cable. Well, I don't know. Yeah, so it's a weird design. I mean, they made this thing super thin though. I mean, this is a gaming laptop that is super thin. So you can only do what you can do. All right, look at the backside. Yeah, we're gonna pull the board out and we'll look at the backside. Do I answer viewers' questions? JS, you just answer, you put a question in there. If I notice it, I'll usually answer it. So I'm not, you know, I'm doing the best I can multitasking. So, but there's tons of smart people in the chat too, so they can answer your questions also. But if I don't see it, then post it again, or if you throw some money at it, put $1, 99 cents, or 50 cents, or whatever it is, it will show up in orange or yellow or blue or pink or whatever, and I will see it. Okay, getting this out. You have a machine with Windows XP SP3 with 1 gig of RAM. You know, I had a machine the other day that I had to install XP on. Crazy. I think I maybe told you all about that already. Okay, board is out. Ooh, it is caked. We got another dirty machine. Let's take a look at them fans. Look at them fans. Nice. I like what they've been collecting in there. Let's see what we got here. Ooh. Looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. Yeah, that's good. Pretty dirty. So we'll clean that out later. I don't really care about doing things that we don't need to do until we know it's working. So I'm going to pull this out. Why didn't they... Good point. Yeah, it's already been to another repair shop. Why didn't they clean the fans? I mean, at least clean this side. If they didn't pull the board out at all, then why would, you know, I mean, you could at least blow this side. Why are these latches not coming undone? I'm trying to open up this latch for this fan to take it out. We got to be careful because we don't want to break it. It opens on this side. There we go. Got that one. Fan undone. Fan undone. I hate replacing those latches because they're so tiny, and then I don't really have them on a bunch of boards, so I only have like 1 or 2 of these donor boards, and they're already missing a lot of those parts. Some quality gooch. Yeah, I've been informed that apparently gooch in like England means the area between the coin purse and the chocolate starfish. That was the exact quote from the person who put that as a message, so that's pretty funny. My brain had to think about it for a second. I was like, oh, okay. Coin purse and chocolate starfish. All right, and the heatsink is off, and we have liquid metal. We have L liquid metal, and it's mixed with heatsink compound, and this part is lifted here. I don't know if it's been leaking underneath there or if it just got stuck to the heatsink just now, so we can lift this up. Now that looks good. It's not too leaky. So if most people, I would think at this point, they've seen my videos about liquid metal, but so this is a gallium-based liquid metal thermal compound. It's mixed with a regular thermal compound, but the way that works is it allows it to transfer the heat to the heatsink more efficiently. But it's highly conductive, and it leaks out of these little dams. It's like a little, well, they call it dams, like foam, and it will leak on the board and then eat away all the components. So I hate it. So I don't see any issues on this side of the board. I don't think the guy, the repair shop girl, whatever, opened this up. So I don't think the problem's gonna be on this side. They identified the chip that's having an issue is probably being that EC chip, I bet. So we get to deal with the EC. But we want to do our physical inspection anyway, so I'm just going to we're going to browse through this. I don't want to pull all this stuff off because this covers everything. We can also look here too when you're trying to identify something that's getting hot. You see all this black plastic stuff? You'll see a different color. Oh, you can actually see a different color right here. So you see how this is changing color from heat? That means that this chip right here was getting hot. So that's a good way of kind of identifying a area that is of interest. So I don't see anything burnt here. We're gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna take off the liquid metal. We'll just put some PTM 7950 on it and call it a day for that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna temporarily put the heatsink back on so I don't have to worry about it getting everywhere. And should I blow these fans out though? Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the other room and blow again. Did I check for shorts? No, I haven't checked for a short yet, but that's a good point. I will check for a short in a second. Let me blow these fans out. I'm gonna put the heatsink back on. That way we don't get the liquid metal everywhere. I don't feel like cleaning that off right this second. And then we're gonna go through and check for shorts, and then we will probably deal with that EC chip. Huh. Well, isn't that special? So I just blew it off and none of the stuff came out of here. So that means toothbrush is what we need. And it also means that they probably are a smoker or something, have nicotine that kind of gunked it all together. So we'll do a full cleaning later. That's not any entertainment. We need to do the entertaining part, which is figuring out what the heck is wrong with this thing. Yeah, someone say weed smoke. Yeah, man, it has weed smoke on it. Yeah, smokers. I have a laptop in right now that has a lot of smoke coming out of it. Every time you turn it on, it smells like a pool hall. Which I've spent plenty of time in the pool hall, so I know what it smells like. Strange smoke can make the laptop act a little weird, man. All right, so heatsink's bolted back on just enough. I'm going to plug in the fan so that way if we ever get it to turn on, then we can hear some fan action. And we will be addressing the EC issue, check for shorts, right? But we didn't check for shorts because we saw that the 19-volt power rail was present, correct? And then we saw 3 volts on the EC chip. So we know that we're getting stuff there. I guess we could have a short on like the 3 volt or 5 volt. Wait a minute. Where are those power rails at? Let me grab a donor board so we can kind of look better without having to pull these stickers off. Okay. Here we go. L donor board. And so we can see that this goes, wait. Oh, this is an R2 though. So this isn't R1, X14R1, this is an R2. A little bit different shape and stuff's laid out a little bit differently, but I think it actually should have most of the stuff in the same place. So we can see a coil here. This is gonna be one of the power rails. There's a few more here. There's another one here, another one here. So we need to measure all these, and they are all in this area. So Ted just donated $5 for the weed smoke junk, man. Thanks, Ted. This customer will appreciate the discount that you are donating to. All right, yeah, so we have a power rail here. Wanted to get the weed smoke out, so I just sprayed some Lysol inside, but it didn't work, man. I don't know why I keep talking in a stoner voice. So I'm on continuity mode. There's no short here. And we have another coil here. That's measuring 0. What is this? What is this thing that we have? I don't even know what it is. Oh, okay. It's capacitors. So no short on that side. I hate peeling up this stuff because it rips this film, but sometimes you have to do that. I really don't think it's a short, by the way. At this point, what we're seeing right now is symptoms of something that's not starting up. So. And I guess when we plug in power here, let's measure voltage on that rail whenever we plug in the charger. Okay. Darn it. You quit smoking in 1984, huh? Yeah, I don't indulge. Oh, Cheech and Chong, yeah. Be a lot cooler if you did, man. So where am I measuring here? So we plug it back in. You know, look at what we're getting now. We're getting a different measurement than we did before. 0.04. See how the meter's saying it's 0.0 now? Instead of it was going up to 0.01. Is that right? Let me flip this over. Sometimes if you do it in one way versus the other. Yeah, huh, that's interesting. We're getting no voltage there. Let's go back to our power management chip and measure there. Or am I getting boards mixed up? No, we did measure the power management chip here. It was this one. Yeah, we have 20 volts, right? The 5-volt power rail and they're all in the back. I guess we're gonna have to pull all that off. Not a fan, man, not a fan. And I don't want the rip. There we go. There's some coils. We can measure those coils. Just a happy little coil. You guys are having a whole weed conversation, huh? I had to step out. What'd you miss? So I don't know where you stepped out at there, Darren, but we're working on an X14. We think it's the other repair shop messed this thing up. But I'm not getting any of these other power rails. I don't know where the 5-volt power rail is. Here's the BIOS chip, 6, so 32 meg chip. You just divide it by 8. And then JV. So that's a 25R256 JV, which will work with like a 25Q 256 JV also. It's the same chip. So that's we were going to measure voltage on that. That's what I was going to do that for. I suspect we don't have voltage on this BIOS chip. The reason why is whenever you have an EC that has to turn on, it won't send any voltage to this until it's on. So see how we're not getting any voltage on the BIOS chip right now? And so if we fix the EC issue, then it will power on all the power rails. So the only time you usually get power on these power rails when you have an EC chip that's not on yet is whenever you plug it in. So I'm going to unplug the charger for a second and plug it back in. I'm just going to do that. Let's see what it does. We didn't get any voltage. I'm just holding it on one of those coils. So now we'll choose another coil like this one. We'll unplug it, plug it back in, because usually it will bring the power rail up for a second, and then it will pull it back down. And it didn't do that on that one. And again, I don't know which was the 3 or 5, but yeah, they're not moving around. So I think an EC chip. It has to be, guys. Has to be. Oh. Darren has a ham license. So you all in there with Soren and his ham stuff? I almost went and did that with my daughter. She was having to do something for a NASA thing, and so she was going to get her ham license, so I was going to do it too with her. Should we try to program this? I don't know the pinout. Oh no. Let me see if we can find the pinout for this. Give me a second to pull up the board view if I have one. And we need to figure out how we're going to program it. Otherwise, we're just going to pull one from another board that's already programmed. X15, X14. Do I have an X14? So some of these you can program through the keyboard connector, and some you have to program on programming headers, debugger headers, and so that's what we're looking for right now. Screen. All right, can everyone see the screen here? So we got our X14 board view pulled up, and we are in this orientation. So we need to find the EC chip, which is going to be around here. That's not it. This thing needs to be flipped. Sometimes they're backwards when they come in here. All right. Is that our EC? Nope. Where is it at? Do I have this backwards? That's the PD. Oh, that's the power management chip. Power management chip. Here, I want to switch back to our overhead just to show you. Okay, I'm trying to find the right view here. Sometimes it's hard to get orientated. So we got EDP, so it needs to go this other direction again. And then, this is an R2 board, that's why, I can tell already. So this is not the same as an R1. Yeah, because this board number is a, where's the number? There we go. L381P. And what we're looking at is a 382P. So it's not going to be the same, but hopefully it will get us close. We can look through this. We'll see if we have any EC connections in here. Power share EC. No. So we don't have any programming pins through there. Oh, what about this? Clock. Trying to find EC programming pins. That's the LCD connector. Let me rotate this board. Should be right here. It's interesting. So what is this? PCH. I don't know. Is it over here? Nope. Okay. I'm going to switch back to chat real quick because I cannot see anything. Let's figure this out because I'm just going to have to search, I guess. I usually just look and find it. What number is this? This is UE5 or QT2. QT2, UE5? I think it's UE5. I'm already frustrated. Okay. Because I've actually never programmed this one before, so we will see. Let's see. Search UE5. Okay, there is a UE5. Right there. Well, how did I miss that? Okay, so can everyone see? I don't know if you can. Let me, on the YouTube Shorts, I just need to make sure you can see this little sidebar. I'm just going to try to move that over just right. There we go. Okay, so when we're clicked on this, it will show us all the pinout on here. And what we're trying to find is the data clock and the DI. Here we go, JTAG. This is what we want. So JTAG clock, JTAG TDI. And it's going to go somewhere, and we can see a line going somewhere, and so it's pointing us this way. So we're going to come over to this side, and it says it's right here. And that is what orientation. So it's on the back side. That's interesting. So this is on the CPU side of the board. The EC chip is on the CPU side, and on this board that we're working on, it's not. So we must have JTAGs around here somewhere. Oh, there's a JTAG right there. JTAG. It's going to be one of these. JE. We need the JTAG. Is that connector not even connected right? It's like super crooked. That is a squeaky screw. That is squeaky. This one, I don't know. I might have to mess around with this later, but we could probably pull just an EC chip off a board that we know works, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to program this right off the bat just from what I'm looking at, because the board view I have is wrong, and it's not, you know, the EC chip's on the wrong side of the board, so it's pointing to this other area that's not even, doesn't even exist on this side of the board. So we just need to, I mean, we can look for the JTAGs, but the MCU pads, there's not anything on there. And so a lot of times, I mean, this says JE, this is a debug header. And we do have 5 pins there, so it could be those first 5. But without knowing which one's what, it's kind of hard. So let's just pull one off a donor board. Does that sound good? Placed it, yeah, with a pre-programmed chip. So we have to have a donor board that's the exact same model, so we'll have the exact same programming. So that's going to be really the best thing. Or we can switch to XPS, yeah. But let me see if I have a donor board, the same one, because obviously this one was the R2 version. So let me grab a R1. I don't think I have an R1. That's what I'm seeing. What about these? Okay. There's something. That's another R2. Right? Yeah, that's another R2. I have some other machines over here, but I think these are all good boards. Yeah, I have a stack of good boards here that I don't want to pull an EC chip off of. Like, I can get the EC firmware, no problem. We just need to be able to find where we program it through in order for it to work. From the board view, I wish I had, did anyone find the board view for mine, the one I was looking for? It's an L381P, because the one I had is a 382P. And I don't have the actual one that's the one for this board. It's an R2. Sometimes the programming headers, like if I show you on another board, like one of these other ones, like here's an X15. This is the 14. This is the X15, and you can see the debug headers are right here on the edge. So this is what we're looking for. Oh no, that's not it. I take that back. It is, where are they at? There's EC, oh, right here. So this one's already been programmed before, but, so right there, that's the D, and see it's JE debug. JE debug. So do we have JE debug on here? Did we see that? Oh, idiot. Yeah, there you go. There's your sign. Yeah, so it was that one we looked at. Okay, so the pinout's going to be those first 4, and usually it's in this exact order, the same order every single time. So, do we want to do this, program this, or do we want to move to that XPS? How much time do I have left? I'm at 2 hours and 7 minutes. I've been here almost 12 hours. I don't like to push it more than 3 hours total for this thing. So, let's do a vote real quick. Okay, so I just put a vote up here. That's basically just saying, proceed with this one, try to program this with the EC programmer. Sometimes it can be boring because it's like having a hard time connecting, and you know, it's trial and error trying to get the pins in the right place. I have videos on programming these EC chips. I can kind of give you the gist of it, but there's basically, you have this program headers. We're going to try to connect to the chip, and then we're going to try to pull the firmware off, We're going to try to put new firmware on there, and then that should actually make the board turn on if it is an EC chip issue. The problem that I'm seeing in general is that the EC chip has all that flux pouring out of the side of it, so we don't know if they reflowed it, they took the chip off, put it back on, if there's solder balls touching together. We don't know what's going on there. So probably, OBS is disconnecting. Did we lose my feed? I just got an error message saying OBS disconnected. Reconnection successful. Did I glitch for a second? Are we back? Are we good? Okay, yeah, it said for a second that it disconnected. Sorry about that. I don't know. I have fiber here, so. So we're at 62%. Says they want to see me keep going. Yeah. You're interested in the programming the EC chip? I think it's definitely the EC chip for sure. You know, another thing we could do is take one of my good boards and then pull the EC chip off, put it on there and see if it works. And then we don't have to program it. Then I could always just kind of deal with it later. So that won't take very long as I don't have to reball it. If we're just going to pull it off properly and put it back on without reballing, we can just do a swap. I don't mind doing that. That's kind of quick. Swap it. Okay, if we do a swap, then it's less boring. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to do a swap of the EC chip real quick. Let me grab a board that works. Okay, this board should work. And the way to test if this board's going to work is we'll just plug it in and see if we get any current being pulled. Ready? Look at our power meter. 20 volts. It's at 0.15. And it's doing the same thing. Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. Okay, let me grab another one. I got more of them. So, I mean, we could steal this one, but although it doesn't work, so therefore it doesn't help us. I thought I had more of them. I got one more. Okay, this is my test machine, and should work. Let's plug it in. Plug it in, 0.14. Oh, right, it's not, I forgot, it's not supposed to turn on by itself. Come on, guys, keep me honest. So before we keep going here, okay, so my brain is like getting messed up. Okay, remember, if it's a pre-programmed EC chip, the board will not turn on by itself when you plug in the power. So, and if it's one that programs from the BIOS, it will turn on automatically, program the EC chip, and then it will, after that, you'll have to turn on with the power button. So this board that we said, oh, it's doing the same thing, well, we didn't plug it, we didn't press the power button. So it's plugged in, and let's press the power button. Here's our power button. And where's our tweezers? All right, sorry, here's our power button. We need to find the voltage that is 3 volts. So 5 volts is not the one. 5 volts is not the one. 5 volts, nope. 5 volts. So there's our 3.2 and ground. So these are the 2 pins we're going to short, so we just touch them together. And it's pulling current. You can see it pulling 2 amps, 1.5 amps. So before we proceed, let's do that with this guy's board, because we're just assuming that his power button worked the whole time. And maybe his power button is the issue. Although, see, it's only pulling 0, now. Before we even took it apart, it was pulling more than that. Oh, look at this fan connector. Look at that whole side's been broken off. Man, that other repair shop is crazy. Let's see if we can get this back in here. Get in your home. Okay, it's in its home. All right, so we're going to short these together. Look at our power meter. Oh, now it's pulling 0.02. So the EC chip turned on immediately. Did it turn on the BIOS chip then? Let's look at the BIOS chip's voltage. Lots of eureka moments going on here. Where's our BIOS chip at? There it is. And our BIOS does not have voltage. It has 0.1 volts. Huh, strange. You agree that none of this is boring. All right, good. 712 people. Hopefully everyone's entertained. So I'm going to still go with the premise that we have... What is this? What is this thing? It's a broken piece of metal. Where'd it come from? Oh, is it the edge of a heatsink? Oh, I think it is like the edge of the heatsink or something. Huh, man, they were really prying this thing apart. Oh, we see some good stuff right here. Look at that booger. Look at this booger. Let's go 90x on this. See any good stuff in there? It's pretty good. That is gross. It's so gross looking at it so close up. Oh, I see like skin follicles and stuff. Beard hair. Okay, that's enough of that. Enough of that. Okay, sorry if I grossed anybody out. So yeah, I'm gonna take this EC chip off. We will swap over the other one that we know is turning on the board, and then we will continue. So let's protect that dude right there. We'll protect this, and hopefully we'll get this thing to at least power on a little bit. Oh, you're eating dinner and watching right now? I'm sorry. It's the other type of hair. I saved another laptop. Greatest Philippine technician that's ever lived. So you're in the Philippines, huh? So I'm going to put a little bit of this Kapton tape on here. This is a 2 mil thick. Very nice. Very good thick stuff. I like it thick. And then for good measure, I'm just going to put a piece of this, a copper tape on this. There we go. All right, and the problem with that stuff is it like reflects, and so it gets dim, so I need to figure out what to do about that. Maybe I'll put a piece of this other Kapton tape on top. Here, actually I'll put this pad on there. Does that help the lighting? Yeah, it's a little bit better. Oh, that squeaking. Sorry, squeaking on my focus. It's like a little mouse running on a wheel. Okay, so we're going to pull this EC chip off. We're going to try to pull it off perfectly so we can leave the solder balls on there. So if you want to not have to reball a chip, you just pull it straight off, and you can leave half the balls on the board, half the balls on the chip, and then we'll do the same thing with the other one, and then we can just transfer it over. If it messes up, it's fine. We'll reball it, and that will just be what we have to do tonight. But so I'm going to use... let's see what tip. This chip's small enough. We don't need a bigger tip, but I'm going to use our 450 degrees. And I'm just going to kind of preheat the area. I'm kind of further back from the board right now. I'm just kind of preheating it up. Let me get... All right, and then I'm going to add some flux now that's heated up so we can get some flux underneath it to go with the other flux they left on the board. And I'm going to put it on one edge because what we do is when I heat it up, it blows underneath it. And I don't need to put it on top of the chip because nothing soaks in when you put it on top. All right. Everyone see all right? Okay, that's good. So I'm just kind of moving around in a circle. You see how I'm moving the flux around in like a pattern? And what I'm waiting for is the chip to start moving. So I'm just going to lightly tap it. And now it's moving. So once it's moving, then I'm going to move away, let it cool off for a second. And now I'm going to put my tweezers in position. I'm not really holding it or moving it. I'm kind of more pressing down on the board than the chip itself. And what I'm doing is I'm waiting for it to heat back up again. And once I can tell it's moving, then we're going to pull it straight up. And straight up. And did we do a perfect pull? Looks perfect to me. That looks pretty perfect to me. So you see how the balls we left half the balls on the board and the other half are on the chip. And so we have to do that exact same thing when we pull the other one, and then we're able to put them on top of each other. And if you notice, all the balls are circular. Well, I guess there's one up in this corner that's a little bit not circular. And maybe that's when I set it down, it wasn't a little bit cooled. But what you'll see sometimes is if you think you heated the whole thing. The reason why I do the two-step heating thing where I heat it where it's moving and I kind of knock it, then I pull away, then put my tweezers on it, is because when you think it's all the way heated, there may be one or two pads or balls that aren't all the way heated. And when you pull it off, you'll leave all the ball on the board or all the ball on the chip, and you don't want that. So I found this method to be kind of the most reliable in the long run. All right, so we have that ready. So we're gonna move that out of the way. So we have this board that works, or power's on at least, and we need to pull that chip off, but I need to protect my connectors again. Looking better than my balls. Big balls. You shake too much. Well, I actually am not as still as you'd think. I just set my palms on the desk, so that will keep you a lot more regulated. Hello from Texas. I'm in Texas also. We're in Austin. It's hot. Hot here. We got 734 people in the stream right now. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves. I do the stream every Wednesday from 6 p.m. Central, and we're just fixing motherboards live, and I never know what we're working on because you guys vote. So it's fun. Let's put that pad over this. There we go. We'll just do that so it's not too reflective. So hopefully most of you guys have subscribed to the channel already, because it's funny how many people watch my videos and don't subscribe. All right, so I'm just putting a little bit on the side again. I guess I could have preheated before I did that. I normally do. So I need to move this out of the way so it doesn't melt. Oh yeah, you can click thumbs up if you like what I'm doing here. Okay. All right, ready? All right, so we're gonna pull this EC chip off, and then we can transfer it over. We gotta do it perfectly, or else we gotta reball it. So again, we're gonna kind of use that same technique. where we'll heat it up. And you see how we don't have any flux coming out or enough flux coming out the side on this other side? That's not enough flux. We want it to come out of both sides. Oops. So I'm just going to put it again on the edge. And there we go. That's what we want. So we're just kind of rocking it around in a circle. And this is my own technique. I don't know. I just kind of came up with this on my own. I've watched other people, and then I've tried to mimic what they're doing, but, you know, practice is kind of makes you perfect. And I'm sure other people have better ways too. Darren, thanks for the subscription. So I'm just going to start tapping this soon. Nothing's happening yet. I'm just barely touching it. So it's not moving yet. And you notice how the other one moved pretty easily? It's almost like they already had lower melt solder under there. This one's definitely taking longer. I had to add a little more flux to it. There we go. See, it's moving a little bit. I'm just tapping it just a little bit. Okay. Let it cool off. I don't want to put my tweezers near it until it's cooled off again and holding itself in place. Now again, when I'm pushing down, I'm basically pushing down on the board more than anything and then kind of lining up the tweezers. So I'm not applying any movement pressure on the chip yet. And we just want to reheat it until we know that it's moving, and then we'll lift it straight up. And you don't always get it right, so we'll see what happens. But if you actually hold on to the chip, then you'll, right when it loosens up, you'll start moving. So that's why I always press down. Okay, and I can tell the chip's moving, I think. Yeah, we're good, and lift straight up. Looks like a good pull to me. See that? That looks like a good pull. We're good. So I'm going to let this cool off for a second. This is our good one. So I don't want to just start throwing this thing around. Now we can go back to this original board. Now how we're going to put this back on. So the normal plan of action would be to clean all these balls off and put a fresh set of balls on this side, on this chip. But since we have half and half, we'll be able to do it. And so our orientation is going to be this way. We got pin 1 right there, and we got pin 1 as that dot. And so we'll just line it up. And there's actually little marks here that show you where the chip's going to go. So that's where we're going to line that up. These balls, you guys are so much fun. Okay, so before I start heating that, I'm going to add some flux here. And I know that people have said that this is a bad idea to do this because it has the unleaded solder on it. But those are the same people that I guess when you buy a chip that's already pre-balled, that you will remove all the balls off of there and reflow it with your own solder. And I would not do that. So again, when I'm holding this down on here, I'm not pressing down with the chip, I'm gonna press down on the board. Okay, so my tweezers are actually putting pressure on the board, not on the chip, but it's holding the chip in place. And so once I get it where I want it, then I'm going to start heating this up and doing kind of that same motion. And we're not going to do it quite as long. And then now I'm going to move away. I haven't moved my tweezers yet. Wait for it to cool off a little bit. And now I can move my tweezers because it's tacked in place. And once it's tacked in place, then I will add some more flux, and then we'll hit it for the final flow, and then that should be good to go. So once it actually totally melts, then see how it jumps in place? It just kind of moved and sat down by itself. And now when I tap it, it will sit where it's going to sit, where it wants to sit. There you go. And that is done. And that is how you transfer an EC chip from another board without having to reball it. And you've seen this in other videos, I know, but some people find it interesting. We're going to let that cool off for a second. was the airflow and temp. So we're at 60% air. Yeah, 60% air and 450 C. So almost max. I mean, not all the way max. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if you do too low, like 350 or something like that, then you're not going to really be able to heat the board. So if you put this on a preheater, if you have like the board on a preheater and then you're doing this, then you can use lower temps like a 300 or 350. But because I'm having to heat the whole board, it sinks up a lot of the temperature. And if you put this like under my thermal camera and watch it at the same time, you'll see that the board's, you know, the chip's not actually getting that hot, even though you're putting 450 on there, because the board sinks up a lot of that heat, all that flux. Otherwise, you're just kind of smeared around the board. So you want to try to get it all picked up. And if you do it now, then you're not leaving that mess that that other company left. Or who knows why. I'm glitching again? Oh, man. Maybe it's because I'm double streaming. I don't know. Okay, well, sorry about that. I'm double streaming because I'm streaming the YouTube Shorts at the same time. So all of you people from YouTube Shorts, just come over to the main stream. And then that way we don't have to worry about this. So just click on the Parts People icon and then go to our live feed. Okay, so we got that cleaned up. Now we can just plug it in and press our power button. So keep an eye on our power meter. So 0, 0 still, which I don't really like that. And then our power button is here. It was those first two, right? It's gonna be these two right here. Touch it together. 0.023. Same identical situation. So not the EC chip. Huh. Wow. Interesting. No, I don't think the balls are wrong. I don't think there's anything issues with that, because it's doing the exact same symptoms. That is strange, though. Because, And here's our EC chip area now. You look how much cleaner it is after we cleaned it. Yeah, there's still some of their flux over here. Oh, man. I don't know. That's a weird one. I was really expecting... you want voltage injection. I was really expecting it to turn on. Yeah, let's put it under the thermal camera real quick and just see what it's doing. See if we actually have some heat somewhere that's not supposed to have. I got to get the thermal camera set up again because we had disconnected it. Anybody else have an idea? Because the EC chip is really the first plane of action. It has to be able to get that power first. So I don't understand, because the BIOS chip isn't even on yet. So I don't know. I'm getting the thermal camera booted up right now. PCH, yeah, but try to program it. Oh, that was my poll. Sorry, I just ended that poll. It could be a bad PCH, because if they were messing with the LCD cable and that all does tie to it, it could have just blown that out, I guess. So we'll tell in a second, because when we turn on the thermal camera, we'll be able to see that the PCH is getting hot and nothing else is going on. See if we can get this going. We're going to have to pull the heatsink off, unfortunately. Power management chip, yeah, maybe. We're going to hook a battery to it too, but we didn't need the battery on the other board. But I did notice that the power management chip did not have that 5 volts on that one rail, on that VDD line. And so that does kind of point to a power management chip issue. So if we had a charged battery, maybe. So we should have 5 volts right here on this pin. So we have 20 on this one. Okay, oh, sorry guys. So here's the power management chip. So we should have, so we have 20 volts here, but we should have 5 there, and we don't have 5 there. Let's measure, see if we have a short on there. And we don't have a short. That's the 20 volt. This is the 3. The rest of these are communication lines. Is that burnt? Or is that flux? I don't know what's supposed to be here. But that's measuring 0. Here, actually, let me put it on ohms mode where it's not measuring a lower resistance. This could be like a 1K or something. Yeah, that's fine. And if you look for burnt resistors, sometimes you'll see the a little circle, like a little eye on it. Now these are all measured in line, but in general, a lot of these are not like over or in parallel with a bunch of stuff, so you don't have to worry about it being, you know, having false readings in general. $75 ohms. Yeah, the 5 volts is missing there. So what if we put 5 volts on that line? Let's do it. I'm going to put 5 volts on that line and plug it in, see if it turns on. All right, let's get a charged battery too. I can do that. Let me get a charged battery. I got one of those right here. Charged battery. How much time do we have here? 2 hours and 36 minutes so far. I am turning into a pumpkin. I'm getting tired because I've been here for 12 hours now. But let's plug in this battery. Let's see what it's doing here. Does it post? I like that. I think that's funny. Post means power on self-test, by the way. So if it doesn't even power on, it's not going to post. Okay, battery's plugged in. Let's see how much voltage we have on the battery terminals. And then we know we actually have voltage. And then we'll see if the VDD's up. And if the VDD's up, then we might actually get power after all. So we got 12 volts, which is plenty of voltage. And let's plug in the charger, le charger. And it's still sitting at 0.4 or 0.0, and then we'll measure to see if our VDD line is present, which usually will be if the, that's the EC chip, if the battery backfeeds in there. So this pin should be 5. No, I still don't have 5 there. Yeah, I guess, huh. Let's see if it powers on. We have our thermal camera up, so we can see if it powers on. Wait, what's that? What's that? Ow! Ooh, hot. Hot. Alert. Ouch. Negative 200 degrees. Kelvin. It's the inner of space. Ow, that was a hot spot. It's so hot that it went above its limits. I don't know why it goes backwards whenever it gets so high, but this thing's supposed to go up to like 1,000 degrees. Okay, that was hot. That's crazy hot. So this chip, can y'all see it? Okay. Let me plug in the charger and see if it heats up again with the charger, but it might just do it with the battery only. So charger's plugged in, it's not doing anything. I'm going to try to power on the machine, triggering that. So you can see the EC getting hot over here on this edge, but I'm not seeing anything else. So, but when I plug the battery back in, okay, battery's getting plugged in. I'll tell you when. Okay, battery's getting plugged in, 3, 2, 1. Is it all the way in? This connector's a little hard to get plugged in. Okay, now it's all the way in. Oh, look at that, on fire. On fire. Okay, so For everyone out there in the internet land, you can see it's getting hot right here. And it's so hot. Let's see if that's... Oh, it's not even that chip. It's the chip next to it. It's over here somewhere. Is it the power management? No, it's right next to the power management chip. Wait a minute. We're going to use alcohol because that's our friend, right? Because we can't tell. So we'll switch back to this view. Oh, look at that resistor. You see the hole in it? Now, can a resistor be shorted? Yeah. Can it be shorted to ground? If it is attached to ground. That's weird. This thing has a hole in it, for sure. So it's whatever this thing is attached to is probably what's shorted. I don't think this thing is the thing that's actually shorted. Because usually what ends up happening is you'll have voltage go through something. But why is that measuring as 100K? So is it in parallel with something else? So we're measuring it as 100, not 100, 100 ohms, not 100K ohms, but 100 ohms. Let me plug it back in again. Unfortunately, or let me measure it from ground over. So if we measure to here, that's just a, I don't know what that is. Measure the there, that's, and the there. We got no ground. That's a weird one. This does look like it's burnt though. Oh, okay, here we go. So this cap next to it? So, no, it's not that either. Okay, I gotta plug the battery in again. It's really hard because the battery barely plugs in, or the connector is like hard to plug in. And then it's putting so much voltage there, or current, that it gets so sizzly so fast. So you guys keep your eyes peeled. So I'm just gonna flood it. I think it is that resistor for sure, but we don't know why it's shorted like that. Okay, get in, plug it in. It's hard to plug in, gosh. Here, I might need to figure out if I can just inject the voltage. That might be easier. So if I inject voltage on this right here, it may do it. Although this is a high resistance. This is the current sense resistor. Yeah, I know the other side of the board is probably, but the heat, there's so much heat. It's definitely right here, but it might be tying to something on the other side of the board. I mean, you can definitely see that resistor is damaged. But is it, you know, I know that it needs to be replaced. Exploded diode. Yeah, diode could be it. That's a good point. Okay, plugging in again. Hold on, let me get where it lined up. Okay, I need more alcohol in there. Okay, flood the area. 3, 2, 1. Is it that resistor? I mean, is it not doing it anymore? Did we mess it up? Okay, the battery's plugged in right now. Weird. Okay, it's not doing it anymore. Maybe it finally blew it out. Let's measure the voltage on that. So we have it on right now. We have the battery plugged in. Battery voltage is right here. 11.2 volts. And then we'll measure the voltage on either side of that resistor. Figure out what we have. 11.6 on that side. And 11.6 on that side. Interesting. I mean, there's definitely some heat on there, right? Because it's evaporating. 1.6. That's weird. I mean, that was hot. I swear it was this chip over here, I thought, but nothing's hot over there now. So I'm kind of confused. Maybe we plug the charger back in that activate that issue. There's no CMOS battery on these machines. Turn it on, yeah, maybe let's try turning it on again. I turned it on. Plug the power in. Turn it on. I'm shorting out the connector here, by the way, to turn it on. Yeah, you can see it on. Oh, there we go. We got heat somewhere else now. That's in a different spot. Isn't that a different spot? It is. Over here somewhere? We're like chasing our tails. So the heat's going through this MOSFET. So whatever this thing is powering, it's getting really hot. So it doesn't like something somewhere. I mean, that MOSFET's getting really hot. So whatever it's hooked to is shorted. And maybe what's happening is that that's shorted to ground now. Ooh, hot. Because sometimes you have low side, high side. Yeah, I didn't see any magic smoke. Okay. Back to beat mode. Now it says we have a short here. Ha! That's funny. And then short went away. Of course. Which means that the low side got activated for a second. So the charge circuit on these machines, you have a high side MOSFET and a low side MOSFET, and then a coil in the middle, and then that's what actually charges the battery. And so if the high side gets shorted, it becomes like a wire, so the main 19 volts will come through that. But if the low side gets shorted, the battery can short straight to ground, and so that can create heat. But the heat that we had was over here near the power management chip, and then we had heat over here at this MOSFET that is one of the ones that charges it. So that's a weird one. Let's look on the other side, like you said. I'm going to pull this. I don't want to pull this heatsink off because it has that liquid metal and I'll have to clean it off. Quit complaining and do your job. Yeah, well, something's shorting. I mean, do we have liquid metal leaking around now or something? I don't know. Who knows? Now it's a donor board. Yeah, no, I mean, it's probably fixable. Because it's not broken all the way, like it doesn't have like a CPU or GPU issue. Usually you could fix that stuff. Gotta be careful with these fan connectors. Okay. Board is off, the heatsink is off. I think another reball. Yeah, I don't think it's the EC chip. Okay, I'm going to pull this off. I hate pulling these off because they're hard to get back on, or the sticky gets all messed up on them. Let's see if I can get it off perfect. Okay, that's good. We'll just keep it off to the side. And this one will get off perfectly. You shouldn't have flipped the coin. Why? Why did I flip the coin? So, yeah, that was you chose poorly, my son. Where's that from? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? Chose poorly. Okay. So I'm just looking for liquid metal leaks real quick. That way we don't have to, we can rule that out. And that looks okay. So now we can just check these coils again. We had a short, or it had no short, and then now we have a short. And the fact that when we plug in the charger and it stays at 0, we didn't have that short before, so it's kind of strange. Are we the technicians that are damaging this board? No, not us. All right, so I'm checking that coil. I'm not going to check those. That's the CPU. That's the charge coil. This is something else. Something else, something else. This is going to be the, well, I would say that 0.18, 0.9. I was going to say that that was for the VRAM, but that could be for the GPU itself. I was thinking that these were for the GPU. And that's 0.2, and that's more like it for VRAM. Yeah. I mean, not for VRAM, for GPU. So those are more like it for the GPU, and this one probably was with that one. So all four of these together are, look like they're going together right here. And then these three, I would think, goes to the VRAM. Well, that's 0.2. Okay, so what about this one? It's 0.2. Okay, so I thought I was reading earlier, lower a second ago. Okay, and that's 37, which is right. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Why is it changing numbers on me? So I don't see a direct short anywhere. We got 8 ohms there. It's probably okay. Let's see if it's doing anything different now that we took that heatsink off. We could have something that's causing it within the heatsink. Plug it back in, and 0.00, so it's staying at 0. Expect oxidized copper to be conductive. Yeah, it could be. More alcohol, let's go. Let's go back under the thermal camera. And I'm just going to plug in the charger again, and then that way we can see what's actually coming on when we push the power button. Let's see if we have a power button on this side. Sometimes they have a power button on the board somewhere that we can use instead of me having to flip it over with this liquid metal. I don't see a power button. It's probably on the other side. Okay, so we're just going to use, let me clean off this liquid metal. If I flip this over, we're going to get liquid metal over my bench, and then I'm going to have a hard time cleaning it up. So we're just going to collect all the liquid metal. If you want to see how I clean this, I actually shouldn't have put any alcohol on it, but we're going to collect all the liquid metal into one side. You actually want to pick it up dry. I shouldn't have put any alcohol in this. So I'm just going to collect it all on one side here into one big ball, and then we'll pick it up off of there. So let me get a dry Q-tip. And you never want to use a paper towel to clean liquid metal, because you'll have it touching one part of the paper towel and not know it, and you'll spread it all over the circuit board. So now I just kind of do this and I roll it. So when I roll it, you see how it kind of collects together as one big ball of liquid metal, of mercury basically. And so now I have it picked up onto the Q-tip, and then I just put it back down on accident. Great. See, now I'm making a mess. So I'm going to grab a new Q-tip because I don't want to push that thing any further over. So now we got a new one. Push this back over. So we're going to just pick it up. I'm rolling it, and it usually will get on there. Get on there. There you go. So I have it, and I'm going to take it away slowly and gently. Throw it in the trash. I'm not using both sides of the Q-tip because I don't want to have any accidents. You get a drop of this on the board, it's really hard to clean up. It will eat away the contacts. So I'm just picking this up. And again, there's tiny little drops, and see how I'm picking all that up? Okay. That looks pretty good. And I'm only going one direction, and that's the way you usually can pick up all the metal. Okay. I'm happy with that. Looking good? Okay, so we're safe. Now this one I don't have to worry about. This is all dry, crusty, like waxy stuff. So I can flip over the board and not worry about getting it everywhere. So we have it turned over. I'm going to hit the power button again, which I can't see. Here, we'll do it with it on infrared. Sort this out. We're pulling 0.2 now. EC chip is on. You can see the EC chip is turned on. It's like warm, but we want to see if the PCH is coming on, which is the chipset. And the chipset is located in the CPU or next to it. So there's the CPU. This is the chipset right next to it. And I don't see any heat on there. Those are all reflections. I'm just tilting the board. But we can see some heat right here on the top of this board. That's 122 degrees, which is a little bit more than we would ask for normally. So what is over here? Now this could be the EC chip on the other side of the board, but 116. Is that directly? Okay, so the EC chip's not near that, so it's not the EC chip doing that. It's something on this side of the board. And what is it? What could it be? Well, I don't know, but let's put some alcohol on it. Something over here. We need more alcohol. Where's my toothbrush at? All right. I mean, that chip's definitely getting hot. I don't know why. Because I think that... I'm not sure what that goes to. I mean, I think it would go to the CPU, but it might be the startup chip for the CPU. It may be that what drives all of them. But I can't really tell if that's what's getting hot. I mean, it's definitely hot. So let's point our tweezers right at this. So I'm going to come down, point right at it, right there. Okay, it's that thingy. It's this right here. I'm sure you guys noticed that. I didn't notice. So that's the one that's boiling. It's probably an LDO. Looks like an LDO to me. So it looks like the linear voltage regulator, which means it would have 19 volts on one side and then 3.3 on the other side. 19 volts on one side, 9 volts on the other side, 3.3 and 9 volts. Yeah, so that chip's supposed to get hot because it's on. So that's what's actually drawing that 0.02. Let's hook the battery back up. Where'd it go? Is everyone still entertained with this? Because I don't know what the heck's going on. We keep finding these shorts and it goes away. So I'm plugging in the battery now. And look at that, the CPU's coming on. The GPU's coming on. Whoa. Okay. The CPU and GPU came on when I plugged in the battery. So that means that we have a power management issue. So we need to change out our power management chip because we're getting voltage to the power management chip, but the VDD is not present. We have a burnt resistor over there that we need to replace also. So probably this thing blew out this other resistor over here. So I think what we need to do is we need to change out this, which was the 9538CH, which I have some of those, and then change out this guy, which I don't know what the value is of that. Cold joint in the PMC, I don't know. But the power management chip is not producing the 5 volts that it needs on the VDD line, so a lot of times that is a bad power management chip, but the board should power on with off battery. If the power management chip's bad, it will still power on and work off battery, but we didn't know if that was working or not. It wasn't working earlier, but now we've kind of figured that out. But why was it so hot in that area? There was definitely, it was shorting when we plugged in that battery. There's still some intermittent short going on, right? But maybe it was actually coming on, and that's why it was so hot. So I just plugged it in. And so it's not getting hot. The battery's plugged in right now. I'm going to plug in oh, you know what? We had triggered it on when we plugged in the charger. We pressed the power button, but nothing had happened. And then now but when we plugged in the battery, then it ended up turning on. So if we trigger that, look at that, chip's getting hot again. And the CPU is getting hot. So it's that MOSFET. I don't want to run this too long on the battery, but okay, interesting. So here's what I'm thinking. This is just me just thinking. You want to know what I think? I think somebody in the chat was right earlier on. I think that it has a bad power management chip, and that's why it's not getting voltage to the battery to charge the battery and the power on the board. But whenever we were getting that hot chip, basically when you run the board on a battery, it puts a lot of current flow through the board to power the board itself, so it should get hot. So that MOSFET here getting hot, totally normal, that's fine. And even the power management chip will get hot when it runs the board. Now, I don't know why that resistor is burnt, but it could be related to the power management chip being bad. So let's replace this power management chip. See if it turns on. We'll see. Or I've been here, oh yeah, now we're at 3 hours. This is whenever I really start falling off and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I sound like I know what I'm talking about right now. I've been here for more than 12 hours, so my brain is not working that well at this point probably. So I'm going to pull this chip out of here and we will install it. And I'll tell you what, we will install this new chip. And we have to replace that resistor too, but I don't know what value it is, because otherwise that's not going to work either. Let's see if our board view that we have will work, or that will show us. So here's the orientation we're looking at. Let's see if we have this in our board view. That's our EC chip. Where are we looking at? The power management chip. Okay, so two resistors here, resistors at the top, pin 1's at the top. So we're trying to find that resistor inside of our board view to figure out the value. Go. So power management chip is not there. Not there. These are the two connectors there. Remember, this board's wrong. This board view is wrong. So it's like, but we're trying, a lot of times it has kind of the same orientation for everything. Whenever it's around the chip itself. Charge, okay, here it is. So we have those two big resistors there. Got some stuff up here. I'll go back and forth so you guys can see the difference. So we're looking at that orientation. Back and forth. So, so we got these two chips here. We got those there. We got that there. These three in a row. So that top one is what we're looking for. And I don't see that. So we have those two big ones here. This is pin 1. So I don't know what's supposed to be there. But we have our donor board. Or it's not really a donor board because it is a good board. But we can at least measure to see if it's supposed to be 0 or what. And if we measure in line, it's going to be a little wrong, but we will at least kind of figure out what we're supposed to have in that area. So that guy, what is that? Measurement. Measure it. It's 100 ohms. Yes, I will measure it. That'd be cool if it's 100 ohms. Yeah, 100 ohms. That's the same as the other one. So is the other one not blown? Because yes, we're measuring in line, but it would measure not 100 ohms. So I think we're good with that. It just looks kind of messed up. So let's just replace this power management chip, and if it doesn't work, I'm tired, okay? But we know it will work. Here, I'll put up a vote. Okay, so y'all can vote on that while I change it out. And hopefully it will fix it. You see how dark this is? This is why I don't like to do it on top. So I'm trying to set up higher and go straight down, and so the whole thing's in focus when I do that, but you see how much reflection there is? This is how I normally do it. I kind of tilt, I tilt the microscope a little bit so it doesn't reflect. So, but I have to get down a little bit lower on my chair to do that. And then it's more uncomfortable, but it's a lot clearer, see? So that's why I like to do it angled. Look how much clearer that is. No reflections. And then I don't have to have some fancy light, anti-glare light. There you go. Okay. Flux, where are you? I'm just going to do that edge like we normally do. Yeah, polarizing filters dim it a lot. That's the only problem. Yeah, the only problem with this angle, I mean, it's better light, but then it sometimes will have some stuff out of focus. So, you know, the field of view is not always perfect. So I'm melting some of that plastic there, but that's okay. That's just a film underneath. So one of the most common chips that fail on laptops is going to be this power management chips, just to let you know. And most of the time when a power management chip doesn't work, it will work on battery still. So I'm just making sure this is all the way hot, and then we're going to lift it off like that. So 9538CH. You can order these on Mouser. They're about $8 a piece. A lot of these boards are using this exact same chip. And so here's our brand new one, literally brand new, see? I'm not even using the facetious Soren, the way that he likes to dig in his box and find some chip. But before we install it, we have to pre-tin it. We've got 680 people in the stream still. These people are leaving. They're not enjoying this. Okay. The votes are still coming in. 126 votes out of 680 people in the stream. That's pretty lousy, guys. If you're on YouTube Shorts, you can't vote. You have to come to the main stream, which is the full, whatever, long form stream. So I'm just going to put a little solder on my iron and put these pins on the edge. Like that. Otherwise we won't have enough solder for it to join up to. And just a little bit in the middle. We don't want much. That's probably too much, but all right, back over here. So we need to find pin 1 again. So hard to see pin 1 whenever you have all that flux on there. Okay, so pin 1's that dot, if you can see it. So we have pin 1 here, and we have pin 1 is that dot. Can you see it? There you go. So we're going to line that up like that. So I'm going to preheat the board, get those pins going, and then we will set it down. 65% of the people say that this will fix the issue. What's the chance that resistor could be damaged? I don't know. I mean, 'cause I thought it looked bad to me, but maybe it was just getting hot or something. Hello there, Walter. Welcome. All right, I'm just waiting for this solder to melt a little bit, and then we'll set this down. There we go. Setting it down, tacking it in place, and then I will add flux to it. And we'll let it sit into its place. You see how it just moved it on its own? You see that? Perfect. Now that it's sitting in the right spot, I'm going to have to apply a little bit of pressure. We're a little bit out of focus. Sorry about that. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure to try to squeeze out any extra underneath. There we go. And then let me pick that up with my soldering iron. Okay. I'm going to reflow it one more time. Now that's kind of moved out of it, it's not sitting straight anymore. Okay, there it moved back. There we go. Just a happy little power management chip. It's just so happy. The flux capacitors. Okay. Oh, so tired. Okay, so we got 65%. People say that it's going to work. Out of 176 votes, I'm closing the poll. And you guys, we have 678 people watching, 178 people voted, so that means that 500 people did not want to press yes or no. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interactive stream, but you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to clean this up because that's what I like to do. And this will also help cool it off a little bit more. So 35% of the people have no faith in my ability at this hour, and maybe I don't either, because I'm tired. Okay. So remember, we plugged in the battery and the CPU and GPU are powered on. And we'll do it under the thermal camera so we can really see it heat up. You can see it's still warm around here. But the CPU and GPU did heat up whenever we did that before. So I'm pretty optimistic that it will power on. Okay, so I'm plugging in the power, 3, 2, 1. 5 volts and then 0.1. So before it was 0, 0, right? And so that's good. You can't vote on TV, and I understand. I like that people are watching this on TV. It seems kind of a cool way of being able to put something on. So no, I get it. That's fine. Okay, so now we got to power it on. And right here, where's my probes? I'm going to press the power button. Power meter. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. 2 amps. The CPU and GPU are getting hot. We did it. We did it. So this board is coming on now. So we can reassemble it and power it on. Should we power it? Do you guys want to see the screen come on? I am super tired, but I am willing to do it. Here, we'll vote one more time, one last vote. Okay. So, coming on 13 hours being here, but you guys vote however you want. You guys are so funny. Okay, all right. It's at 81% right now. That says they want instant gratification. Okay, let me clean off this. I'll start cleaning this off. You guys are so funny. All right, well, we need picture. Oh yeah, the LCD is not assembled. I have a test LCD assembly that I can hook up. If that helps speed up the process, right? I'm just gonna get this liquid metal off of here because I hate it. It's getting all over my desk. Look at all this liquid metal that was in this the dam here. Yeah, I may just skip putting this on for right now because it's, look at this. This is all liquid metal now on my desk. So I'm not going to put this on right now. I'm just going to use the heatsink over it and we'll clean it up tomorrow. Let me see if I can clean this off my desk though. JK Video, thanks for the donation. This every donation goes to this customer's repair. I don't keep a dime of it. Okay, that should be good enough. Yes, it's even like this it's like mercury. It's all over the edge here of my desk now. I hate it. Hate it. For what? 3% better cooling? 5% better cooling? All right, 78% of the people say that they want instant gratification. So I'm going to continue. Got to get all this liquid metal off of this heatsink too. So again, well, I'll show you how I'm doing this. Aaron, thank you for the donation. The customer appreciates it. So again, I have nothing on my, whatever you call these things, Q-tip. So it's just dry. And I'm just kind of rolling it and collecting it. See that? Rolling it and collecting it. Just trying to get it on there. So now I have it on there. I'm not going to use the back side of this. I'm going to throw this in the trash and I'm going to grab another one. Kevin, thank you for the donation. The customer's going to appreciate that. I'm going to split it between these two guys. So whatever y'all give, they'll be happy. Yeah, pretty much every customer, every week, whenever I tell them that there was a live stream with their laptop and they got the donations and it paid for part of it, they're super happy. Dominique, thank you. Oh God, I hate this stuff. Look at this. It's like down in the crevices now. I got through a lot of Q-tips, cotton swabs. Yeah, the reason why I couldn't remember the name of it is because my brain doesn't work right now. That's what happens when you don't eat dinner and you talk. You just keep speaking every moment for 3 hours and 20 minutes after working 10 hours. Okay. Yeah, I walked in the door here at 8:20 this morning. Right now it is 9:18. So yeah, we're at 13 hours now. Okay, so that's cleaned up. Yeah, what a mess, but I'm awesome at cleaning it up now. Now, if you ever see it piled up and you don't use that trick with the cotton swab, you can actually hold the board kind of upside down and also do it over a trash can and it will fall into the trash can. But I generally just kind of do it dry and just roll it and you'll be able to get it cleaned up. And this regular thermal paste you can just wipe off. I'm just using isopropyl and just wiping it off. Okay, I'm not going to put any of the pads back on there. We'll do the, I mean not pads, but the shielding, and we'll put some fresh. I'm just going to use some Arctic Silver just while we're testing. we go. Perfect. Just a happy little heatsink. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can get back to the chats here. What we got? You know, this stuff reminds me of this liquid metal. It reminds me of those games back. I mean, I was born in the '80s, so or 1980. So you remember those games where it was like a maze or a puzzle or something? And it had like a bead of liquid metal or mercury in it. That's what it reminds me of. Because it like gets everywhere when you do that. But that liquid metal is super efficient in transferring the heat, but it's only a couple percentage, maybe 5% at most, better than the PTM 7950 that we'll end up putting on here anyway. So we have those screws in there. I mean, yeah, there's one more screw. I'm not worried about it. Plug in the fans. And I'm just going to lightly install this, and then we'll, I have a test screen that we'll be able to install because their assembly, sorry, my brain really is starting to shut down. Their assembly is not put together, and so I'll have to use a test assembly that's already put together. I'm going to stop the vote here since we're at 288 votes, no, 228 votes, 77%. There's no way I'm coming back from that. There's no way I'm going to be able to go home with that type of vote, so let's put this one in. And we lost our clip. Where did it go? Where did our clip go? That was the one that was already hanging out of there. So I'll have to put that one back in later if I can find it. Where did that clip go? It's on the desk somewhere. All right, so one of these fan connectors, the clip fell off. Remember, we saw it kind of hanging, dangling. I should have kind of taped it in place. But I'll have to put one on later, but that's going to get us close anyway. Let me just grab a test machine. Okay. There's a test assembly. Darn it, I don't have one assembled already. Maybe I can use their screen. Here we go. I'll use this screen right here. These things are so thin, if you just touch it, it cracks. And then I'll use one of these new cables. That way we know that the cable's good, because these cables are notorious for being bad. So I'm just going to plug the cable into the screen. Like so, maybe. I think it goes like that. Okay. I'm not even putting this inside the machine. We don't need to do that. Why overcomplicate things? Because I'm crazy. So I'm going to plug the screen in here. I don't know if I need this other little circuit board here. I don't think I do. And we need power. And we get the power meter on 0.1 something. Yep. And then I'm going to hit the power button with my tweezers here. Here we go. Can't see it. There, I'll have to look at it under the microscope. It is too hard to see that power button. Okay, got amperage. Okay, switch back to the overhead, flip up our screen. There you go. Look at that. I'm going to turn it off. And success. Whew. All right. Wow, that was good. That was good. We have picture. So, moral of the story is, this was not an easy pizza. And it just shows you that some repairs are easier than others, obviously. And, you know, kind of the way this business is working, or at least for my board repair department, I just do flat rate labor. So it's $250 flat rate for my motherboard repair service. Some are going to be quicker and easier, or I know how to fix them because I've dealt with them. Some are going to be harder. Some take many hours. I worked on one earlier this week that took me like, I don't know, 7 hours or something. And then just my regular laptop repair is $129, and it's just flat rate. And this also includes return shipping and a year warranty, which nobody does that. So, okay, well, that one's done. We did it. And for who was here last week, I was working on that Alienware Area 51, the big one with the double jacks on the back. If you guys were here for that last week, and then I wasn't able to get it to work properly. Robert, thanks for the donation. It's going to go to both of these people's repair. I'm not going to keep any of it. So the one last week, right after I stopped the stream, because I said I was tired, I plugged it in and I was like, oh, let me plug it in with the battery installed. I did that with the battery installed. I was able to see the full 570 watts and it charged and everything. So that was it. It was actually, it only uses one of the jacks until it needs more power, then it goes to the other jack. That's what the issue was. So we kept trying to pull off of this one jack, but it didn't work until I booted into Windows and then did a stress test on the GPU. It stayed on one jack, and then right as I put a stress test on the CPU, it started pulling from the other jack. So it kind of stays on one, then overflows the other. So that was a cool thing that we were able to fix. And sorry I didn't get to finish it on the stream, but anyway, this was a good experiment. I live streamed on YouTube Shorts at the same time, so hopefully that went through just fine. I have no idea. So is there anybody that was on the Shorts stream that came over to this stream in the chat right now, just to know that that was even working? Because I don't even know if it was working or not. I could see it there, but I don't know. But I appreciate everybody. I'm going to head out. It's been 3 hours and 27 minutes on this stream, and I don't know, has anybody been here the entire time? Raise your hand if you've been here the whole time. You, Dave, that's right. DIY Dave had been here the whole time. Oh man, quite a few of you. Okay, so I kept you engaged enough to stay here for 3.5 hours. That is awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, every single one of you guys. And every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Like this video so then more people can find the channel. And we'll do something next week that hopefully will be, just as entertaining, because we never know where these things are going to go, right? Every single week, it's always something different because I don't look at these, and y'all are the ones kind of guiding the ship on this. So anyway, thank you guys, and see you next week.
I saved another laptop.